What is up, hooligans? Happy freedom. Happy Halloween. Appreciate you guys being here. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Hooligans, where we try to make the news suck a little less. I appreciate all of you guys being here. Please hit that like button if you have one. More likes, more hooligans. Not feeling very festive today, but I'm going to try. Best I could do is rock the spooky green hooligan badge. The only way I can do that is without the green screen. I'll show you what it looks like. Otherwise, let's see. Click this button, then this button. Then we do this. And now there's a hole in my chest. Maybe that's cooler. I don't know. We'll take a vote. But for now, can't be worried about that stuff. We're going to read through the schedule really quick. And then we're going to flip through the chats, make sure everything's working. And then we're going to wait for KJP. She's already 30 minutes late. She can wait a little longer. Let's see here. Joe, it's your birthday? Well, happy birthday to you, Joe. I hope today kicks ass for you. Thanks for sharing some of your day with us. That's awesome. That's super awesome. All right, let's see. Well, we have the press briefing. It was supposed to start at 1. Thankfully, it didn't, because we didn't start at 1, so we're just waiting on her. 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Orange Eagle is going to be live, and we are going to cover it. Of course, it'll probably be a little bit after 5. He's usually a little bit late. We'll see how it goes, but I believe he's supposed to be on stage around 5, and we are planning on covering it. Of course, we will not be showing it on YouTube, so if you're on YouTube, just know 5 o'clock, you're going to have to be on Rumble, jeffmaclive.com, DLive, Odyssey, Twitch, Kick, Twitter, anywhere but YouTube, because YouTube sucks. So just know that, around 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be starting off with a video, well, after the goofy press briefing. Hold on, we going to need some chicken bacon? We might need some chicken bacon. We're going to see. So we'll be starting off after the press briefing with a video titled, Pentagon Pursues New Nuclear Bomb 24 Times the Power of the One Dropped in World War II. I don't know why we need that. I don't, like, do we just use the Hiroshima style weaponry on a daily basis? It ain't working anymore. We need something bigger and better. I don't understand why we need that. But anyways, we're looking into it. Then we have a video titled, Cell Phones Are Making Children Less Safe in Schools. I feel like that title is misleading. They're talking about how depression and anxiety is linked to children having cell phones. I don't know. Maybe. I feel more anxious and depressed than I ever have in my life. It's got to be the cell phone. It's got to be the cell phone. Anyways, then we have a video titled, Trial Begins to Get Trump Off the Ballot in Colorado, which is so stupid. It's so stupid. Try not to scream at the screen while we're watching that video, because it's full of idiots. Then we have a video titled, UAW Reaches Deal with General Motors, ending the labor strike. So they are finally finished with that. Everybody's going to get what they want, I guess. I don't know, really. Then we have a video titled, Federal Officials Blocked from Removing Texas Border Razor Wire, which is a win for America. Apparently there's some sort of federal state conflict going on right there in Texas. The U.S. government is suing Texas for blocking the border, from preventing people from coming here illegally. So Texas is being sued, and we've known that for a couple weeks now. Well, apparently the Border Patrol was lifting and moving and doing things to the razor wire to allow border crossers to come through, and of course that's against the state's wishes as well as all of our wishes. Well, a judge just ruled that federal government can't do that anymore, that they need to leave the razor wire there and leave those people on that side of the invisible line. So that's a win for all of us. We'll be wrapping things up with a video titled Rand Paul Directly Confronts FBI Director Wray and DHS Secretary Mayorkas at Senate hearing, and he pretty much just summarizes like the last 3 years, like very quickly, very swiftly, talks about how all of us are being censored, we're being mistreated on the internet and social media, and he even brings up like how hardcore it was during the riots and the protests for George Floyd, how the censorship was off the rails and all that stuff. I highly doubt anything's going to happen because nothing ever happens in our favor, but at least they're talking about it. At least they're bringing it up on Capitol Hill. Either way, that's what's on the menu today. We're going to flip through the chat really quick and see what you guys have all going on. Let's see. What's up, everyone, over on jeffmaclive.com. What's up, Hair Juicer? What's up, Sam? Happy Freedom and happy Halloween, you hooligans. Let's see. Hair Juicer getting our first snow right now. I know, I'm trying not to cry on the live. We're supposed to get like 1.6 inches over here. If she's lucky, she'll get a little more. But that's what we're supposed to get according to our goofy weather, which it could be anything. We could get 5 inches, we could get sunburns. I don't know, it's hard to tell, but they're saying to expect 1.6 inches. I will try not to cry during the live. I'll wait till afterwards. What's up, everyone over on Rumble? I'm gonna grab this link because I know eventually we're gonna end up over on GoofTube, and they're gonna need this link like a life vest. What is up, everyone over on Rumble? What's up, Snooks? What's up, Sly Dog? What's up, Neon Love Machine? Happy Freedom. It's Joe's birthday. Happy birthday to Joe. What's up, Nana? What's up? What's up, Norman? Happy Freedom. What's up, Duel? What's up, AJ? A lot of names I ain't seen in a minute. What's up, High Plains Drifter? Happy Freedom. Sam, you're omnipresent. I appreciate you. What's up, Lifelike? What's up, Tech Tick? Happy Freedom. I don't know what you're saying about New York City. Let's see. Snooks, Trump is on Wednesday. Oh, is that not today? Is it not today? Because that would free up my schedule a little bit. I am supposed to call on my car right after the live. Oh, yeah, you're right. That's not even for today. Okay, so we do not have Orange Eagle today. My bad. I got a little ahead of myself there. Put the carriage in front of the horse, is Captain Hot Dog Fingers is going to say today, because he says that every single time he's on the podium of lies. So expect that. Expect that. What's up, Two Storms? Happy Freedom. What's up, Dawn? Appreciate you hooligans being here. Yes, no Orange Eagle Day. Okay, so after the live, well, depending on when it gets done, about 4:30-ish, I plan on calling the shop, and we're going to see what's going on with my car. The motor should be swapped, but I don't know what else is going to happen. So I will have an update for you guys on tomorrow's live, and I will update everybody who's on Gilded and jeffmaclive.com as soon as I know. So make sure you guys join up so you can be the first to tell what's going on. Oh, Odyssey. What's going on with Odyssey? Oh, we're running. Happy Freedom, everyone over on Odyssey. Happy Freedom, you hooligans. And happy Halloween. I keep forgetting it's Halloween. That's what happens when you live inside your house and you haven't gone outside in 30 days. It's like a social experiment while being antisocial. This is my social interaction right here. I'm kind of keeping it together, but it's so hard for me to realize it's Halloween. I'm going to have to dress Klaus up. Oh, I got pictures of Klaus Dracula. Donna Sparks sent Klaus a Dracula cape, and I'm going to have to find some pictures for you hooligans. I'm gonna try and put that together during the press briefing so you guys can see Klaus Dracula, because he is something else. What's up, everyone over on D-Live? Happy Freedom, you hooligans. I keep forgetting to write D-Live back. I am so bad about emails. I need a secretary. What's up, everyone over on Kick? What's up, Tom Tom? What's up, Garlic Press? Happy Freedom. Let's see. Tom Tom. Haven't got a Twitch notification in a few days. Maybe Twitch is doing something weird in the background. I know they're constantly updating things. I think Kick is starting to affect Twitch. A lot of the big live streamers have left Twitch to go to Kick, and they've started airing dirty laundry. Like if you sign a deal with Twitch, they keep all your donations and subscriptions. You get paid a specific amount from Twitch, but anything that viewers are donating and contributing through membership subscriptions goes just to Twitch. You're just paying Twitch. Now, I'm not in that boat because I'm not partnered up with Twitch or anything like that. I'm just monetized over there. But the big live streamers who have deals and all that stuff, they're starting to talk about how bad Twitch actually is, because Twitch takes 50% of all revenue that comes through the platform. So if you donate $5, $250 goes right to Twitch, $250 comes to me, and then 40% of that $250 goes to Uncle Sam in February or whatever I got to pay taxes. So if you donate $5, I get like $1.40 out of it or something like that, and that's the way it goes. But if I was partnered with Twitch, I wouldn't get any of it. I would just get whatever check they cut me, and everything that you guys send would just go to Twitch. So Twitch sucks. That's unfortunate. We know that, but they haven't been cracking down with the censorship too hard, so we stay there. But just know where Kick is. Just have that Kick link ready, because the day we get knocked off of Twitch, we'll just keep rolling on Kick. It's the way it is. What is up, everyone over on Twitch? Happy freedom, you hooligans. What's up, Grey Wolf? What's up, Mr. Beansy Beans? What's up, K Love? Happy freedom and happy Halloween. Appreciate all of you hooligans being here. Let's see. Mr. Beansy Beans, he'll suck the blood out of you, meow. He better not. He better keep his ass over there unless he wants these uppercuts. Okay. I got enough problems. I don't need vampire kitties. I got the garlic ready. I'm gonna get the garlic, some garlic water, hit him with the spritz. Let him have it. He better chill out. What's up, everyone over on GoofTube? Let me get you this link real quick. Let's see. That's not the right link. I almost sent you guys the wrong link. Who knows where you might have ended up. Oh my god, I'm messing everything up. Ka-chow. Doo-doo-doo. Let's pin this to the top. There we go. What's up, Toy Mafia? You were first today over on GoofTube. What's up, Dad? What's up, Wet Blanket? What's up, High Plains Drifter? What's up, Combat Vet? Happy freedom and happy Halloween to all of you hooligans. What's up, Super Kendall? Appreciate being here. Sam, you're omnipresent. What's up, Sly Dog? You're omnipresent as well. What's up, Gregory? Happy freedom. See, I was all excited to see Trump today, and now he's not even showing up today. I was wondering, was he gonna dress up? What was he gonna be? He was gonna be the Orange Eagle, I suppose. Let's see. Dad. Oh, we got tons of snow here. It probably blew in because of the lake effect. We got at least this much snow sitting outside on the ground right now. And it's still snowing. I can kind of see out of the cracks of my curtains I have up. What's up, Garrett? Happy freedom. Appreciate you being here. Triple H. What's Biden's costume? An intelligent president? Who knows? Who knows? He should just dress up as Obama. We would all get a real big kick out of that. What's up, Annette? What's up, 10 Man? Happy freedom, you hooligans. Sam, you hate winter. I do too. Well, I don't like the snow. I don't mind that it's cold. I don't even really care that it's that wet outside. It's driving in the snow. I can't stand it. I can't stand scraping my windows, because I knock my hand tattoos off all the time, like sitting there, freezing to death, scraping the window as fast as I can, and then drag my knuckles against the ice on the car and just peel all my tattoos off. I don't like that. And I don't like vehicle situations, because you could be parked in a parking lot, somebody slides into you. You're driving down the road trying to stay in the tracks, somebody slides into you. You come to a stop sign, you slide into somebody else. Hate it. Hate the whole situation. We should just take the season off. Just saying. Then, traveling to work, traveling to school, a lot of traffic on the roads. It's no good. It's no good. Anyways, well, KJP has yet to show her face. I don't know what she's doing. They're probably trying to debate of putting a costume on her or just not putting her human skin on. There's some conflict going on here. I think she should just walk out with her lizard face on and call it a day. That's what I think she should do. Why not? Why not? Let's see. Hair juicer, oh my god. Is he a husky or is he a what's the other one? A Malamute, I think? Or are they the same? I know there's two names. They both look like the same dog, but I can't tell the difference. He doesn't like his bat wings. Klaus sort of likes being dressed up. It's like little brief moments. Well, KJP's taking her time, so maybe I can get you guys these Klaus pictures. Matthew, you're guessing she's gonna be in red black today? What will she be wearing today? I don't want to say purple again. She was wearing pink and white yesterday. You guys are all saying she was dressed up as Neapolitan ice cream. I figured she was looking like she was in Vice City. I'm not sure. What is she going to wear today? I don't know. For some reason, I think she's going to wear white today. I think she's going to wear white. Joe, you think she's going to be wearing orange? And you're right. I can't say that out loud, but you're right. Let's see. What's up, Silver Wolf? Happy Freedom. Everybody thinks she's going to go with orange. That's what I'm saying. Lots of orange. Matthew says red and black. Let's see. We're going to flip through. We're going to see what everybody thinks because we ain't missing nothing right now. What's up, IB4? Happy Freedom. Appreciate you being over here on Kick. Garlic Press, you haven't got a notification from Twitch in a month? Maybe Twitch is doing something weird. I don't know. We just got the notifications working on the website, and I think that kicks ass. It makes it just like an app. It makes it so much easier to engage and feel like something's going on in the website when you're getting notifications for the group chats and all of that. IB4, you're going with red today. Garlic Press, maybe she'll come as a human toilet brush. That's what she is every day. Every day she's already the toilet brush. Thank you so much, Mr. Beansy Beans, for the bits. And I appreciate you, Mr. Beansy Beans. Thank you. You're awesome. Let's see. Mr. Beansy Beans, old man Walter should dress as a piece of shit. He does that every day. He does that every day. He should just come out without his suit on. Just come out there in his diaper. Like a toddler come waddling out. Got the ba and the blankie with him. Just come waddling out with the diaper hanging. Got the full load going. Deborah, you're thinking she's going to come out in red. Gregory, you're going with green. She could come out in green. She better not. She's trying to match me today. She comes out in green. We're not covering it. We're not covering the press briefing then. We're going to cut it off. She can't be trying to copy me and stuff. Jeez. Let's see. Garrett, trick or treason. Exactly. That's what we should have called the press briefing. Trick or treason. What's up, Anthony? Happy Freedom. Let's see. Hair juicer, you think she's gonna come out in a jean jacket? You're getting real specific there. Are you watching her right now? Hold on. Let me see. Let me see if we got other lives going on. Maybe you guys are getting peeks. No cheating. Okay, no cheating. Press briefing. I'm about ready to drink a beer. I'm right there. If I didn't have stuff to do later today, like go and potentially get my car, I'd be drinking beer right now. Well, they're getting there. Sorta, kinda, a little bit. This isn't the White House Live. This is Fox News or somebody. This is somebody else. The other channels will show the press briefing room before the 2-minute warning, so guess we're still waiting. No Peter, no Jackie. I wonder if we're going to see either or. Only time will tell. And don't forget Biden's binky. Right, he's got to come out with that sucky thing. He's got to. I don't even think anybody would be phased. There's Peter Ducey. Any minute now. Any minute now. Hey, Russell, she's going to be dressed as the Great Pumpkin. She should come out dressed as Charlie Brown. That would at least be, hilarious. But instead, she'll be the football. You guys are terrible. You guys are terrible. The Deuce. I'm trying to think. I can't even think of the other names. Well, we must be getting close. I'm gonna flip on the actual White House thing. Oh, yep. There we are. We were right on time. I'm going to try and get those Klaus Dracula pictures together to show you, hooligans, because that's about all the festivities I have other than sitting here and drinking a beer. Well, we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. What do you think? I can't remember what I said. I said white. We need to get the point system going on the website so we can make bets. We can have little private little bets going using our point system. I'm working on it. What the hell? High Plains Drifter, you cheating. Called it. Just
have some candy. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Prostitute.
We have some candy for you all.
Prostitute.
Thank you for having our family. Thank you.
Oh, that was lovely. It was really lovely meeting so many folks here.
what an ugly dress.
And so hopefully everyone had a wonderful time, and we were happy to host all of you and your families. All right, don't be fighting over the candy now. It's enough for everybody.
Throw hands.
Happy Halloween and good afternoon. So today, as you all we'll see momentarily, the president has big news for hardworking Americans in his continued crackdown on junk fees, building on actions he's taken to date that have saved Americans billions of dollars. Today, the president is cracking down on junk fees in retirement, investment, and advice. Too often, financial advisors steer clients towards certain their client's best interests, but because it means the best payout for the advisor. These costs add up. One of the investment products we looked at cost Americans as much as $5 billion per year in junk fees. Over a lifetime, these conflicts of interest can cost up to 20% of retirement savings, tens of thousands of dollars for a middle-class saver. Are you okay? Okay. All right. I'm sure your favorite is in there. That's why President Biden is announcing new actions to protect retirement security by cracking down on these junk fees. This is another key step in our work to promote competition under Bidenomics to put money back in the pockets of hardworking families. And keeping with that theme, today we wanted to highlight another drug that thanks to the president's leadership, Medicare can now negotiate lower prices to save Americans money. Enbrel, a drug that treats certain types of arthritis, is one of the first 10 drugs selected for Medicare price negotiation as part of President Biden's Inflation Reduction Act, which passed with zero Republican votes. I can see from the chart about this particular drug. Last year, more than 47,000 Medicare recipients took this drug, and those seniors spent over $43 million in out-of-pocket costs, while Big Pharma made record profits. In fact, sellers of this arthritis drug executed more than $89 billion in stock buybacks and spent $213 million on lobbying since the drug hit the market. At the same time, seniors like Judy Aiken, a 69-year-old retired nurse, are getting squeezed. Judy pays $339 per month out of pocket for just one Enbrel prescription she needs to manage her arthritis. So, while sellers make record profits, Judy is forced to watch what she spends every month. And that's wrong. The president believes that's wrong. And that's why he and congressional Republicans finally took on Big Pharma and won the ability to start negotiating these prices so seniors don't have to choose between health care and other basic needs. And thanks to the Inflation Reduction Act, millions of Americans will see lower prescription drug costs. Now, this morning, as you all know, President Biden held a meeting with a bipartisan group of senators to discuss efforts to ensure trust, safety, and accountability in AI development. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer was here, Senator Mike Rounds, Martin Henrich, and Todd Young participated in the meeting, and the president thanked them for their leadership on this incredibly important topic. The executive order President Biden signed yesterday is the most significant action any government in the world has taken on AI, and we're talking about safety, security, and trust, and it will ensure America leads the way in a responsible way as we move forward with AI innovation. As Congress works to determine its exact approach, the President is urging members to move forward on legislation swiftly in a bipartisan manner. With that, Admiral John Kirby from the National Security Council is here today to give an update on Israel and take any other foreign policy questions you may have for him. And Admiral?
Good afternoon. So today I'm pleased to say that another 66 trucks got into Gaza over the last 24 hours with life-saving humanitarian assistance, including food, water, and medicine. It's the highest single-day delivery so far, but again, it's a trickle compared to what needs to get in, and we're going to keep working that very, very hard. Dozens of more trucks are expected to clear today. I want to caveat it with that. We're obviously watching this as closely as we can, and we hope that they all get in. But still, again, it's just a fraction of the need. We're also continuing to press for the resumption of essential services, including water and the delivery of fuel. Fuel is going to be critical here, certainly in coming hours and days, as the existing stocks are running low to near empty. And of course, we're supporting efforts for safe passage for civilians in Gaza and those wishing to depart, while making it clear that we will not support any forced relocation of Palestinians outside of Gaza. Now, to that end, and to all of those ends, President Biden will speak with His Majesty King Abdullah II of Jordan this afternoon to discuss further cooperation with Arab partners to address this worsening humanitarian situation, and certainly we'll have a readout for you when that call concludes. Now, on the topic of humanitarian aid, again, we've said this many, many times, but it is absolutely critical. And we know that there's bipartisan support for that. There continues to be strong bipartisan support for supporting Ukraine as it continues to defend itself. This is international interest, and these two issues, Ukraine and Israel, are intertwined. Putin and Hamas may be different threats, but as the president said in his primetime address a week or so ago, they both want to annihilate a neighboring democracy. History's taught us that when terrorists don't pay a price, when dictators don't pay a price, they only cause more chaos, death, and destruction. They just keep going. And the cost and the threats to the United States and to the world keep rising. To paraphrase Winston Churchill with a little bit of my Florida upbringing, it's like feeding the alligator, hoping that he's going to eat you last. Secretary Austin and Secretary Blinken testified this morning before the Senate about how critical it is to advance the national security supplemental request that the president has put forward. And quite frankly, as Karine noted in her statement last night, demanding offsets for core national security needs like supporting Israel and defending Ukraine is a break with the normal bipartisan process that could have devastating implications for our safety and for our national security interest overseas. There shouldn't be any political games played here with our national security or trying to turn support for Israel's self-defense into some sort of political football. So with that.
Thank you. Admiral Kirby, would President Biden veto any funding bill that provides assistance to Israel but not to Ukraine?
I don't have a specific reaction to speak to today. I think we've been very clear. You saw it in Karine's statement last night, how deeply concerning this House Republican bill is, and how it doesn't meet our national security needs. And as Commander-in-Chief, the President's never going to do anything that doesn't meet our key national security needs.
Would the President support a bill that provides funding for Israel but also cuts more from the IRS?
The President believes that the supplemental request we submitted in every aspect, in every bucket of funding that we're asking for, is critical for our national security needs. And I would remind that these are urgent requests. That's what the supplemental is all about. These are key, urgent national security needs.
All right, Captain Hot Dog Fingers, wrap this shit up. I want to show off Klaus Dracula.
The objective was apolitical, and it needs to be in this case too.
To lawmakers who say, I want to support to fund Israel, I don't want to support funding for Ukraine, you say what?
We say, take a look at everything we've asked for in the supplemental request, look at what the President said in the Oval Office address, and see, even as Senator McConnell said himself just today, I think, that Ukraine and Israel are intertwined, and both are serious. And that was from the Senate Minority Leader himself. We say, first of all, we know that there's bipartisan support, even in the leadership, that those who are against trying to fund Ukraine or trying to siphon off humanitarian assistance out of the Israel funding, they don't represent the majority of their caucus. And again, take a look at the whole request and see how important it is for all our national security needs.
Thank you, Admiral. A massive blast has been reported at a refugee camp in Gaza, in one of the most densely populated areas. An IDF spokesperson said that they were targeting a Hamas commander. What can you tell us about this? And does that, in your view, mean they violated the laws of war?
Can't say much. I mean, this all just happened just before I came on out here, and I just don't have a lot of information on that.
Would it mean they violated the laws of war, given what we've seen?
I'm not going to speculate on an incident that I really have no information on. That would be really, really imprudent for me to do.
And why have Americans and foreign nationals still been unable to get out of Gaza, even though aid trucks have been going in? Beyond putting the blame on Hamas, what more can you say about what's going on here and what the progress is?
How about if I just put the blame on Hamas? I mean, Secretary Blinken talked about this in his hearing this morning. I mean, they are putting obstacles up to allow us to get folks out. It's not Israel. It's not Egypt. It's not places like Jordan. The Hamas has been making it difficult to do this.
But the aid is still coming in. The gates are opening. I mean, what can be done to then make sure that
I mean, just because the gate swings one way doesn't mean it's going to swing the other way. And well, obviously we want it to. Right now the aid is getting in. Not enough, but it is getting in. But right now we
Kirby swings both ways.
out. Believe me when I say we're working.
That's what he was saying. That's what he was saying right there.
Satterfield is working on this very, very hard.
He's not giving us information. He's looking for a date.
Yeah. So it's being reported that Yemen declared war on Israel. How concerning is that for?
I haven't seen that report that they declared war. Look, we've said from the very beginning that we don't want to see a widening and deepening of this conflict by anybody, any actor, any state. And we've also
Widening and deepening. I'm telling you, he is saying something else. He's talking about something else.
to anybody.
He had a good weekend. I think that's what he's trying to say.
Message to anybody who seeks to escalate and deepen this conflict is, be mindful of how seriously we take our national security interests.
Also, 220 Palestinians have been killed in the West Bank since the beginning of the war. 197 since the beginning of this year. Also, how concerning is it for you that Netanyahu is opening a new war front in the West Bank, considering this killing?
The president spoke to this himself out there in the Rose Garden with the Australian Prime Minister, specifically talking about how dangerous it is that extremists in the West Bank are killing innocent Palestinians, and it's got to stop. It's deeply concerning. Each and every one of them is a tragedy, too.
It's expected the Senate will move forward to confirm Jack Lew for the position of ambassador to Israel. How do you see his role having any impact on some of these negotiations? And can you talk about, is there a way to, I know why there is concern with Israel about fuel, but in terms of power or other of those services, you talked about wanting to see restoration. Is there some other package that could be moved forward that you think could provide some relief to civilians but not undermine Israel's military goals?
I'm not sure what you mean by package, but let me try it this way, and if I don't get you, you tell me.
I'm telling you, there's something weird going on. Now they're discussing his package. I don't know. Something weird.
Ambassador to Israel. It seems
Make
like it's moving right
America
along. I don't want to get ahead of the process,
great again.
But that's a terrific thing. He's more than qualified to be our ambassador to Israel, and we're very excited to get him over there so that he can get on the ground and start leading our efforts to support Israel and their fight against Hamas, but also to help us integrate and continue to lead the effort to get humanitarian assistance to people of Gaza. And our expectation is that Mr. Lew will be taking the lead on those issues once he gets on the ground. On your question about a package.
Power or fuel, when I said package, I meant like, is there some complement of those different types of utilities or resources that would be beneficial but are not undermining the Israeli military capability? Is there some way to try to have less of what you're asking for that could be a benefit?
We would argue and have argued that all of those essential services, as I mentioned in my opening statement, are critical. They're all important, and they're all urgent right now, particularly fuel. And fuel's related to the water problem because they use it for the pumps at the desalination plants. So we would argue they're all critical, and we are literally working this in real time. Now, some food got in on these trucks today, bottled water, and I said water. Some water got in on the trucks today, sorry. No fuel has gotten in. And the existing stocks are dang near down to zero, and that's perilous here for the hospitals, for the water pumps, and so we're working hard.
You say it was hairless?
To make sure we can find some accommodations to get fuel in. I've heard this argument.
Are we watching a relationship happen in real time? That's kind of what it seems like.
Or even in the Senate, by putting fuel in there, we're helping Hamas. I want to be very clear on this. We have seen no indication, none, that Hamas has gotten their hands on any of the humanitarian assistance that has gone in. None of it. It goes from these UN trucks to humanitarian organizations and the UN for delivery to the people of Gaza. That's what we've seen with every single one of them. And with the fuel that was existing in tanks that they could tap simply went to existing legitimate humanitarian needs. And we have tried to make assurances to the Israelis that we will continue to monitor fuel should it go in with the same diligence that we have and our UN partners have been monitoring the food and the water and the medicine.
Way in the back, go ahead.
Thank you. Netanyahu has said that the fuel is being withheld by Hamas. Have you had any kind of confirmation from him or pushback from him on trying to get fuel into the Gaza Strip?
The Israelis have expressed concerns about fuel getting into Gaza, and we understand where the concerns are coming from because Hamas wants this fuel as well to keep their tunnels lit and to support their own needs. They're
keeping that tunnel lit. Okay.
It's a legitimate concern, no question about that. Our argument is that it's also a legitimate need of the innocent civilians in Gaza who are suffering right now and in desperate need of continued medical care and fresh water to drink. And so what we're working on...
How about fresh water to drink for Flint or Ohio out in East Palestine? How about that? Oh, not for Americans? Fuck those people? Okay.
Those concerns.
I won't talk about our diplomatic conversations in any great detail. I'll just tell you that we understand their concerns. They're not illegitimate. And
Jeb said he's got pierced nipples under the suit.
Yeah, thanks. Admiral, I believe the president has, a lot of people have said that the information coming from the Gaza Health Ministry is not reliable because it's controlled by Hamas.
Tastes metallic but smells like a Band-Aid.
Things happening, presumably to civilians, children, in Gaza. So does the United States have its own estimate of what's happening and how many people in Gaza, and where should the rest of us get accurate information on that count?
we are doing the best we can to try to get an assessment of the scope of the casualties. And you can imagine we're pulling from multiple different sources. We certainly are not taking the Ministry of Health's numbers at face value. You know, we're talking to partners on the ground now that we have a direct linkage with 8 organizations on the ground. As these trucks are getting in, we are getting a little bit more fidelity on the situation. So we are pulling from multiple sources. And without spouting a whole number here, I can tell you we are convinced that there have been many thousands of civilian deaths in Gaza thus far in the conflict. And as I've said before, I'll say it again, each and every one of them is a tragedy. Each and every one of them we should work to prevent. We know that each and every one of them means that there's some grieving family somewhere out there that's going to need support and going to need help. We know that. And so we're continuing to monitor as best we can, and we are continuing to stay in touch with our Israeli counterparts about the need to reduce and minimize civilian casualties as much as possible.
Back to this blast in northern Gaza. What is clear is that there are and will be many, many casualties as a result. The president and everyone on down have made very clear that they are urging Israelis to minimize civilian casualties as much as possible. Is it clear at this point that that is not happening, that civilian casualties are not being minimized?
If you're asking about that specific explosion, I don't know. I don't have any context.
General, but also with that.
As I've said repeatedly, MJ, I mean, we're not going to react to every event in real time, but we've certainly recognized that civilians have been hurt, civilians have been killed to the tune of many thousands, that infrastructure has been damaged by these airstrikes. We recognize that. We observe that, and we're not accepting of any single civilian death in Gaza. They're all tragedies, and we continue to work and will continue to work with the Israelis about the need to respect human life and to try to limit civilian casualties. What I said yesterday, though, needs to be repeated. That unlike Russia and Ukraine, and unlike what Hamas did on the 7th of October, the killing of civilians is not a war aim of Israel. I'm not denying that it's happening. Now, of course it is, and it's tragic. But it's not the goal of Israeli forces to go out and deliberately take innocent civilian life. And they have tried to make efforts to minimize that.
But would you go as far as to say that Israel is not successfully minimizing civilian casualties in Gaza?
I would say is what I said to you before. It's obvious to us that they are trying to minimize.
Secretary Blinken said today that U.S. officials are in close communication with Americans who are stuck in Gaza, wanting to leave, phone calls, emails via WhatsApp. What exactly is being communicated to those Americans in those messages?
Well, I'd refer you to the State Department to speak to that more specifically than me here at the NSC, but as we understand it, it's to keep them informed about our efforts to try to get them out and to make sure that they know that we're not tiring and that we're gonna keep trying to do that.
But do you have specific guidance on where they should go? Who
I
they
don't.
should call?
You got to talk to the State Department about that. They're the ones in direct contact.
John, Hamas is claiming that they will free some foreign hostages in the next few days. Has the U.S. been alerted to this by any official channels? Do you have reason?
That's the first I'm hearing that report. We'll have to see whether it pans out or not. Obviously, we want that to be the case.
And are you hearing anything about the crossing into Egypt opening tomorrow to allow some injured Palestinians out?
I've not heard that report.
Given the airstrikes on the refugee camps near Gaza City, would now be the time for a humanitarian pause? I know you've said that U.S. position is no ceasefire, you don't support a ceasefire, but would now be the time for a humanitarian pause?
Well, without getting into this specific moment that we're in right now or litigating this from the White House podium, we do believe that humanitarian pauses could be of value, but they have to be, there has to be credible support on both sides here for where to do it, when to do it, for how long to do it, and for what purpose. And we're continuing to work with partners in the region, and including those who have a direct line of communication with Hamas to see if that's possible. The goal would be to get aid in, to maybe get people out that want to evacuate. It also would be valuable, a humanitarian pause every now and then would be valuable for us if, in fact, there's a serious effort to get hostages out, because you'd need some kind of pause of the fighting to be able to do that safely.
And can you talk a little bit more about the humanitarian aid and the flow and what...
No, please don't.
More and more larger numbers of trucks from going in?
They got shape-shifting Rudy Giuliani right above me on the screen. I don't know what it's thinking. I bet it cackles when it laughs.
There's been a myriad.
Do it.
There's been a myriad.
It was making a witch's brew before they put it on the screen.
There's got to be an inspection regime for each.
But it was full of fentanyl.
Everybody can have confidence in what is in those trucks. So that they have to be opened up, they have to be inspected, and that obviously slows things down. I mean, it's not like October 6th. It's now a war zone, and there are belligerents here, and we got to make sure that what's going in is legitimately humanitarian assistance. And because it's a war zone, it's not the trucks themselves. Their travel in country is potentially dangerous, and there have been strikes on roads and infrastructure that may alter the way they get to their destination, and then making sure that there's enough people on the other end to receive that material and get it to people who are desperately in need. It's just like in a natural disaster, and I'm not trying to undermine it or minimize this, but in times of a natural disaster, the delivery of essentials just gets harder, and it's harder. So there's a lot of factors in here, but we're working through all that. And again, while we admit that it's a trickle and not good enough, it still seems to be.
I still think he's throwing subliminal messages,
and that's a good.
Trying to deliver the essentials, but it's harder and harder. Well.
Get up to 100 trucks a day. Still not going to be enough, but it's going to be a lot more than what we're doing right now.
Mr. Kirby, thousands of Palestinian civilians have fallen so far, including 160 of my own relatives. And I'm just wondering, how many Palestinian civilians need to be killed before the United States call for a ceasefire?
First of all, my condolences to you and your family. Are you in touch with some that are
as
still...
much as I can.
He's like, what are you talking about? I'm from Florida.
I'm very sorry to hear that. I'm very sorry to hear that. And so I can see this is obviously personal for you. I can tell you it's personal for the president, too. We don't want to see any more civilian casualties. So in terms of a ceasefire, our concern with that is that Hamas benefits to the tune of being able to refit, renew themselves, plan and execute additional attacks. And as I said yesterday, right now is not the time for a general ceasefire. It is, however, the time to consider pauses in the fighting long enough so that folks like your relatives and family members can get this incredibly needed humanitarian assistance and perhaps a way to get out if they want to get out. So we're supporting that, and we'll see what we can do. But again, my deepest condolences.
Well, another question, if I may.
Yeah, of course.
Now, you talked about creating a safe corridor where Gazans can leave if they want to. Does the United States guarantee the return, or is it going to be like 1948, where like ethnic cleansing and they're not allowed to return?
As I said in my opening statement, our policy is not to have some sort of permanent settlement outside of Gaza. For the people who call that home, we want them to be able to go back home and do so safely and effectively. We are not calling for their permanent refuge from the country.
During the weekend, Prime Minister Netanyahu referenced the Amalekite, which is a biblical reference talking about the genocide that happened in the biblical times between the Israelites and the Amalekites. Is that a concern for the U.S. administration?
I'm afraid I'm not qualified to speak much on biblical history here, but obviously I think we've been crystal clear, not only there but around the world, on our concerns about genocidal behavior by any leader. And that is not what we're seeing Israel desire to do. That they are going after Hamas terrorists, going after leadership that attacked their country on October 7th in a gross and barbaric fashion. They are not interested in genocidal activity to the people of Gaza. Now, again, we recognize there have been many thousands of casualties. Way too many. Should be zero. We understand that. But their war aim, as I said earlier, is not to target the innocent civilians of Gaza. Their war aim is to go after Hamas.
Thank you. John, the people in this country making violent anti-Semitic threats, are they domestic terrorists?
I don't know that we're classifying people as domestic terrorists for that. I mean,
you don't know what that is?
Left to law enforcement. I'm not aware that there's been such a characterization of that.
Okay. The FBI director said today, the ongoing war in the Middle East has raised the threat of an attack against Americans in the United States to a whole nother level. Has the White House considered the possibility that a terrorist could be in the country right now after crossing the southern border?
Peter, we are always concerned about the potential presence on U.S. soil of terrorists.
You ain't that concerned.
Coming from overseas. That's something we're always worried about.
But there was this bulletin last week. The CBP in San Diego said militants associated with the Israel-Hamas war may be potentially encountered at the southwest
You're talking about
border.
the San Diego.
Yeah.
And
is there any heartburn around here? 600,000 known gotaways just in the last fiscal year.
Yeah.
Is there any heartburn about leaving the border in such a condition that one of those 600,000 could be a terrorist?
So let me just break this down for you just a little bit here. First of all, I can't speak to this intelligence report that was leaked to the media. I wouldn't do that. I can tell you that we are constantly monitoring, as best we can, all ports of entry to the country for the potential arrival of anybody who might wish us harm. And one of the things that the president asked for in this supplemental was additional funding for border security, for like 1,500 more Border Patrol agents and better technology at the border. I mean, so again, we would urge Congress to take a look at that supplemental request and pass it. But if the general gist of your question is, are we taking the potential threat seriously? Of course we are.
The general gist was, is it possible that somebody who wants to commit a terrorist attack during a time of elevated threat crossed the southern border into the United States already?
I couldn't possibly answer that question, Peter. All I can do is tell you that we have.
It's got him in the hot seat.
That potential threat.
Good job.
Thank you.
What a way to not answer the question, Captain Hot Dog Fingers.
Hostages get out.
I really am not at liberty to get into too much detail, Jeff. What I can assure you is that we are still having discussions with our partners in the region, and the Qataris have been useful in that regard. We are continuing to have discussions about getting the hostages out.
Following up on MJ's question, the IDF has confirmed while you were standing here that the attack on the refugee camp and hospital was an Israeli one. How do you square that with what you're saying about Israel trying to avoid civilian deaths?
Again, you're getting me a little unawares here, Jeff. I didn't see that comment. I didn't see that report.
Look, don't lie to me, buddy. Lie to your mama. Don't lie to me.
What might have happened or what might not have happened. What I can tell you is that we have indications that they are trying. I'm not predicting that on any given day they aren't going to fail to meet their own expectations about killing civilians. Sadly, our own experience as a military over the last 20 years has shown us that even with our best intentions and all the efforts that we put in to avoiding civilian casualties, we still cause them. And it's tragic each and every time. But I just, without the context of this event, I'm going to be careful about what I speculate on here.
People who are seeing the numbers, and you've also said it's been thousands, is there anything more you can say besides indications? What evidence do you have that Israel is trying not to kill
it's
civilians?
it's based on literally a daily conversation that we're having with our Israeli counterparts about their goals, their strategies, and their plans, and the questions that we would hope they're asking themselves, like we would ask ourselves before embarking on military operations.
Thank you. Admiral, just to talk about the fuel situation again in Gaza, the lack of fuel, the Ministry of Health, the director.
Oh my God, come on. How many questions can you ask about a country that's nowhere near us?
That aligns with your assessment of how the levels of fuel are.
Oh, there's a douchebag right there wearing a compliance cloth. Look at that.
Line that we've heard from 8 organizations in the UN. It's not totally out of the scope of what we heard from other actors, that it could be that soon.
Is that sense of trauma and sense of urgency being felt in the conversations about the need to get fuel into Gaza, especially when we're talking about hospitals, when we're talking about generators, babies on ventilators and those kinds of things. Is that sense of urgency being felt, and is it being heard by the...
He's got his eyes wide open.
It's absolutely being felt, and we have continued to communicate this with our Israeli counterparts. There's definitely a sense of urgency here.
John, a follow-up on the humanitarian pause. Given the recent comments from Prime Minister Netanyahu and kind of what we've seen in the last few days, are you getting any indication from the Israelis that this is something that they would even consider? And how much of a priority is this for the administration to get a humanitarian pause to make that happen?
I don't want to speak for the Israelis. I would tell you that they, too, want to get their hostages out. They too, want to get those folks back home to their families, and they recognize that in order to do that safely, you're going to have some passage, some pause in the fighting to be able to do that so that they can get home safely. So in a general sense, they see the value in some kind of a localized temporary pause to get their folks back home.
Thank you. Admiral Hassan Nasrallah, Secretary General of Hezbollah, is expected to make a speech on Friday about the group's fight with Israel and Israel's bombardment of Gaza. His words could shape the fate of the country and the region. What the U.S. is doing, monitoring the situation for sure. What's going to do if Hassan Nasrallah decided to declare war on Israel?
Well, I'm not going to get into speculating about a hypothetical like that. Let me just give me a second here.
Sure.
We're watching this very, very closely. And one of the reasons why the president sent an extra carrier strike group into the region and parked one in the Eastern Med is to make sure we send a strong message to any actor, including Hezbollah, who may want to widen the conflict. They ought not to do it. We take seriously, as I said earlier, our national security interests in the region. Now, Israel can say what he wants to say, and we'll certainly be paying close attention to it. But our message is the same to him, to them, to any other actor in the region.
Thank you so much. On the domestic front, we're hearing from Muslim Americans and some Democratic Party activists that they're going to mobilize millions of Muslim voters to withhold votes and funding from President Biden's campaign until he works on a ceasefire for Gaza. Is the White House concerned about that? And then going to your weird crocodile metaphor about...
It was an alligator, and I didn't think it... And it wasn't... It was Churchill, not me.
Sorry. Going to your alligator metaphor about aid to Israel being isolated...
Just watching idiots talking to idiots. It's okay. It's okay.
Can afford to fund Israel, Ukraine, Taiwan, and the U.S. border in one package. And then I have a diplomatic question.
Okay, well, your first one I'm not going to answer because I'm not going to get into electoral politics one way or the other. On your second question, the answer is yes. What's your third one?
Okay. Just comparing the readouts of President Biden and Jake Sullivan's meetings with Saudi officials, we're now seeing a mention of Iran. Or rather, we're now seeing mention of the White House saying that they're asking the Saudis to work with Iran. Is that something that the White House is asking Tehran to do, to pressure? Let me start over. Is that something that the White House is doing, asking Riyadh to lean on Tehran to show restraint? And how receptive are the Saudis?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about our diplomatic conversation.
Yeah, no, we're not going to talk about that. There's no answers for you. I just sat there and watched you struggle to string words together to form a question just so I could turn it down. Big fuck you. Have a good day.
On the visit by the Saudi defense minister, can you talk about where things stand with the normalization negotiations as they were happening before October 7th and kind of where they stand now?
I think, again, without getting into the specifics of diplomacy, I think we came away from those discussions confident that there'll be a path to get back towards to normalization, and that there's still interest on the Saudi side in pursuing that. Obviously, what's going on between Israel and Hamas makes it harder to make practical progress on it right now. I would also remind that even before October 7th, we were still months away from some sort of agreed-to framework. We're still committed to it. It's clear to us that the Saudis are still committed to it, but obviously we're all focused, including our Saudi friends, on what's going on there in Gaza.
John, wait a minute. Before you leave, if Hamas terrorists attack the U.S., would U.S. put boots on the ground in the Middle East?
I won't speculate about that, Brian. We'll obviously do what we have to do to protect our troops.
Nah, they ain't going to do anything.
Thanks, Admiral. Thank you. All right, just have a few more minutes left. Anybody else? Well, Darlene, you want to kick us off?
Thank you.
She gets paid way too much to come out here and let Kirby do all the damn talking. She comes out 5 minutes and then she's gone. She gets paid way too much. They should pay her in Skittles.
By the deal that former Speaker McCarthy struck with the White House earlier this year, the budget deal.
The budget deal that 2/3 of the House Republicans voted on and is now law?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's law. So, yes, as it relates to the budget deal that occurred early summer, that was voted on by the House and the Senate and is now law. So, yes.
A couple of quick housekeeping things. Is a trip to Maine for the president under consideration?
So let me just say that we are appreciative of the governor of Maine inviting the president to visit. As you know, when the president visits any state anywhere, there's a lot of logistics that has to come into play. Don't have anything to share on a potential date, but certainly we are appreciative. And as you know, the deputy director of the Gun Prevention Office, Greg Jackson, as I mentioned, I believe yesterday, is on the ground providing support to the community, much needed support to the community.
When's he going to Ohio?
Were deeply affected and victims by the shooting last week.
And the summit on Friday, the president is having with Western Hemisphere leaders, economic summit. Are leaders coming to Washington for that? Is this an in-person thing or is it virtual?
So NSC, I believe, is going to be holding a backgrounder on this, a briefing on Thursday. So they'll have more information. There will be leaders from countries across the North and Central America will be here. So I don't want to get ahead of who actually will be in person. Sometimes folks participate virtually. I just don't have that list in front of me. But obviously there'll be leaders from North and Central America that will be here, and it's an important meeting. The president is looking forward to having to continue to have those conversations about the strong partnership with these leaders across the region, and so we'll have more to share with you as they do a briefing for all of you on Thursday.
Thanks, Corinne. So the White House says that this new proposed rule around retirement advisors could boost retirement savings by as much as 20%. But for Americans who want to retire pretty soon, say in the next 5 years, how would that concretely benefit them in financial terms?
So just a couple of things. And you're going to hear from the president very shortly, so don't want to get too much ahead of him. But we believe this is really real money that's going to go back to hardworking families. You're going to hear again directly.
It's not going to be fake money.
President. So the new rule, just 3 points that I want to make here. Advice to roll over assets from a 401k into individual retirement account, IRA, or annuity must be in the saver's best interest. Retirement advisors must provide advice in client's best interest, as I mentioned at the top, regardless of whether they are recommending a security or an insurance product, which is also very important. Advice to plan sponsors, including small employers, about which investment to put on a 401k lineup must be in the customer's best interest. So we believe this is really real money that's going to come back to hardworking families. We'll have certainly more to share. Again, when it comes to this type of, when we talk about junk fees, when we're talking about rules like this that really bring to bear what it's costing, billions of dollars that it's costing Americans. We've heard from the president. He wants to continue to make sure that we take away that burden that Americans feel and American families feel, and give them a little bit more breathing room, making sure that the economy works for them. And this is something that the president has been steadfast on, and so he's going to continue to. He's very proud to announce this new rule to really obviously, this is about retirement, and we're going to continue to do that.
But in plain terms, how is that enforced? How do you guarantee that a retirement advisor has the client's best interest in mind, is adhering to high standards?
So look, we believe that the Department of Labor has this authority, right? So there is going to be enforcement that's going to be done via the Department of Labor. That is an authority that they have. We're very comfortable in that. And again, don't want to get too much ahead of the president. I laid out some 3 important factors in what he's going to announce as it relates to the junk fees and retirement. So I'm going to let him speak to this in more details. And if you have any additional question, I'm sure the team here would be happy to answer that. But don't want to get ahead of the president. Go ahead.
There are many states in the country with large rural areas. Why Minnesota?
Why Minnesota? I wonder what you're getting at in this question.
You can.
Oh yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, so funny.
Look, Minnesota is an important state that the president wanted to go and visit. Obviously, going to rural America. The president is the president for everyone, right? Not just urban America or rural America, red states, blue states, middle of America, over along the coast, the states that he's visited. So this is an important look. This is going to be incredibly important. The president's going to hear directly from the American people, talk about what he's been doing, investing in America, talking about the historic pieces of legislation that he's been able to do that's going to create good union-paying jobs. It's actually going to make a difference in this community that he's visiting. I'm not going to get ahead. He'll lay out why he's there and why it's important for him to be in that particular community tomorrow. But look, the president loves Minnesota.
Does this have anything to do with the announced primary challenge of Congressman Dean Phillips of the great state of Minnesota?
So I'm going to be very careful with the Hatch Act and not speak to any upcoming election, in this case the presidential election in 2024. I said this last week and I'll say this again. We are very proud of, or very thrilled and thankful to the congressman for voting with the president almost 100% of the time in the last 2 years. And I'll leave it there. Okay, Jeff.
Karine, I wanted to follow up on Anita's question about support among Arab and Muslim Americans. Polls are showing today that it's dropping significantly for the president. Is that a concern, and how will you address that?
So, look, I'm not going to get into every poll, right?
But you let every poll get into you, don't you, KJP?
Also to
that was too easy. She walked right into that.
So I know. You said
right into the poll.
You said that you were connecting your question to her, so I'm just making sure that I put that out there. I heard the question that you asked me. Look, of course, the president is always concerned and wants to hear how different communities feel about the work that he's doing. Of course, that's important to this president. One of the reasons that he's going out there to go into rural America to hear directly from Americans there. One of the reasons that he does these travel, because he wants people to hear directly from him on the work that he's doing on behalf of Americans across the country. And so, always, paying attention, listening to what different communities are concerned about. Obviously, that is important to this president. I'm just not going to go into every poll from here, but I get the question, obviously. I'm going to call people. I'm going to call people that I haven't called on. Go ahead.
Thanks, Chris.
So you're going to call on Simon?
To meet President Xi face-to-face next month. Is the U.S. considering lowering tariffs or easing sanctions or making some gesture to make sure that meeting happens face-to-face?
Damn, I don't even think Simon's there.
Policy and how we move forward with China hasn't changed. This is intense competition, right? That we have said that we want to move forward with China. We understand that, and intense competition means intense diplomacy. That's what you're going to see. That's what the president is going to be doing and having, a tough conversation, but important conversation. I'm not going to get into any kind of decisions made on this. This is going to be about the diplomatic conversations. We've seen about three secretaries go to China and having these diplomatic conversations. We saw Secretary Blinken. We saw also National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan having important conversations, diplomatic conversations with their counterparts in China. This is important. This is an important relationship. Again, this is about competition. That's what we want to see with China, and this is going to be an important diplomatic conversation that they're going to have.
Is the Chinese not saying yes at the moment
to what?
To a face-to-face meeting?
We've been talking about. The president said he's looking forward to meeting with President Xi, and so not going to get into details about this meeting that's going to happen tomorrow is November, next month. It's going to be in San Francisco. It's going to be a constructive meeting. The president's looking forward to it, and I think that should answer your question.
Yes, the meeting's happening.
Yes.
Thank you.
We've been clear. We believe we've been clear about that. I'm just not going to get ahead of the process. I'm not going to get ahead of the agenda. Again, this intense competition it's always important to have this type of diplomatic conversations. That's the best way to manage this type of competition that we see through intense diplomacy, and that's what's going to happen. That's going to be happening with the president. Go ahead.
Confirm that the meeting with President Xi is happening?
What I'm saying is that we're aiming to have a constructive conversation meeting between the leaders in San Francisco in November. So that's what I'm saying. That's what's going to happen the next month in November. We're having a constructive conversation in San Francisco. Yeah. So I think I just confirmed it. Go ahead, Karen.
Okay, I was going to ask that too. But, back to Maine, without confirming any trips or talking about that, has the president spoken to the families of the victims of the shooting in Maine?
Don't have any conversations or any readout for you at this time. With the families. Obviously, the president's main goal right now has been to make sure that folks on the ground have the resources that they need. We understand. Certainly our hearts and prayers go out to the families and the victims that lost so much on that awful, horrific day last week. And so that continues. As I mentioned, Greg Jackson, who's the deputy director of the new office, is on the ground providing that support, that much needed support on the ground. We don't have any calls to read out.
And knowing what we've seen come out now about the gunman's mental health and some of the warning signs that were there, does the president believe that there was something specific that could have been done to prevent that shooting?
So here's what we know. We know that more work needs to be done in Congress. We need to see more legislation to deal with what we're seeing, to deal with this epidemic, gun violence epidemic that we're seeing across the country. We need House Republicans to get on board. And that is one way to save lives. And we're tired of this. You know, I'm tired of it. The president's tired of it. I'm sure all of you are tired about talking about these horrific mass shootings. You know, there's a reason that this happens, these types of mass shootings happen here in this country, right? And so we have to see legislation moving forward to deal with this epidemic. The president has put forward, as you hear us say all the time, more than 24 executive orders to deal with this gun epidemic, more than 24. And he put together an office to deal with this gun violence, a historic office, something that we've never seen before from an administration, because he knows that more needed to be done. And he wanted to make sure that these executive orders that are moving forward, and also this bipartisan law that was passed to deal with gun violence last year, we wanted to see that expedited. And we wanted to see those processes moving a lot faster. And so that's one of the reasons he put forward the office. But look, we know what works. We know there is common sense legislation that could be put forward right now that can get passed, put it on the floor.
What do you mean? He shot all those people and killed them, but murder's already illegal, so what the hell are you talking about?
Number one killer of our kids. That should not be. And then the question is, to House Republicans, to Republicans in Congress, why is that happening? Why is that happening, these mass shootings happening here in this country? Because they could change that. They can. All right. Okay.
Corinne, you talked, well, actually, I wanted to ask, you've served in this role for quite a while now. I don't know what the average tenure is for a press secretary, but what's your anticipation moving forward? How much longer would you like this job?
I'm not going to talk about my bed. We're going to move forward. Go ahead.
Today.
After today. Go ahead.
Back to the Minnesota trip. Rural voters are increasingly voting Republican. To what extent is this trip part of an effort to reach out to conservative communities? Will the president or any of the cabinet secretaries be going to any red districts on this trip going forward?
The president says this all the time. He's the president for everyone. Again, I just said this at the top earlier when I was answering this question to one of your colleagues. It doesn't matter if it's a red state.
He's the president for everyone, except he only speaks to the blue team. It's always, fuck the ultra MAGA. So no, he doesn't speak to everyone.
Tomorrow. And talk about what he's done on behalf of this community, but on behalf of Americans across the country. And so this is, the president truly, truly believes that he is a president for everyone. And so this is part of that. It's important, just as he goes to urban parts of the country, suburban parts of the country, to also visit rural areas of the country too. And that's what you're going to see from the president. And you'll hear directly from him and he'll speak to it. Go ahead. Jojo.
Yeah, thank you. That's my new nickname.
I know, I saw your tweet. You're enjoying your new nickname.
Yeah, you know. But real quick, following up on Maine and the possibility of going there. I know you said there's no trip to confirm. You don't have a date, but is it the president's hope to take the governor up on that invitation and go to Maine to meet with families?
So again, we appreciate the governor's invitation. As I said before, when the president travels, and you all know this, you've traveled with the president, you know how much of a big footprint he has when he's on the ground. And so there's a lot of logistics that need to be considered, and we're trying to figure that out. I just don't want to get ahead of making any announcement or confirmation from here. Again, we obviously appreciate the invitation from the governor, and we are doing everything that we can. We have been since the moment of this horrific shooting, in providing resources that the community needs, and we've been doing that. As I mentioned, we have someone from the newly minted office to prevent gun violence who's on the ground. I just want to be really mindful. There's a lot of logistics that are put into this, and I just don't want to get ahead of that. Okay. Go ahead, Anita.
Thank you so much. As Jeff mentioned, there are very many angry Muslim Americans right now who who feel like the president isn't listening to them in their appeals for a ceasefire. What is your message to this group of Americans, and what efforts have you made at outreach to this group specifically?
So a couple of things. Look, what I can say is this. The president knows that Muslims and those perceived to be Muslim have endured a disproportionate number, certainly of hate-fueled attacks, right, as we talk about what we're seeing here. And so he also understands that many of our Muslim, Arab American, and Palestinian American loved ones and neighbors are worried about the hate being directed at their communities. And so leaders at every level of this administration will continue. We're going to continue to engaging with the Muslim community, the Arab American community, and Palestinian American leaders to hear their concerns, right? And also to hear their feedback on how best, certainly to combat the discrimination, the hate and discrimination that they're seeing as well. We have been in close contact with folks in the Muslim community. We've been in close contact with Palestinian Americans, Arab Americans as well, appointees here, Jewish American appointees as well, to ensure that their perspectives are heard and that we continue to respect, obviously, their perspective. And so we're going to continue to hear from the community. That's something that we want to do. As I was talking about rural America and how the president is a president for everyone, we certainly want to continue to keep those lines of communication open, and that's really important. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Karine. Just real quick, how closely, if at all, is the White House tracking this 14th Amendment lawsuit in Colorado?
I don't have anything to say about that. I'm not tracking that very closely.
There's no concern that if former President Trump is taken off the ballot, it might embolden support for him in other states?
Look, I'm just going to be really, really careful on anything that is related to ballots, elections, upcoming elections, especially as you're asking me about 2024. I'm just not going to comment. Certainly not going to comment from this podium from here. All right, thanks, everybody.
It's anti-democratic to refuse questions from one of our country's 4 largest newspapers, Karine.
Oh, dang, she's getting called out right at the end there. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. Heck yeah, KJP. Getting yelled at the end there. Captain Hot Dog Fingers spent too much time at the damn podium. I love that. Peter tore into him. And then he didn't even have anything to say. Got terrorists coming across the southern border. But the government's concerned. They're real concerned. They just let all those people over there so they got something to do, I guess. Is it entrapment if they actually arrest a terrorist coming across? Because they're allowing them to come over. Like cops can't park outside of the bar and arrest everybody who comes out of the bar because it's entrapment. Chances are they've been drinking. They were at a bar. So, I mean, if they caught a terrorist coming into the country illegally, but they let them come in illegally, can they even arrest them? They catch themselves on their own technicality. A bunch of idiots. Either way, I'll show you some pictures of this Klaus Dracula real quick. Something festive, just a festive little interlude here before we move forward. Behold, the great Klaus Dracula. Donna Sparks sent him a Halloween outfit. Got him all dressed up and stuff. Had to make sure it was fit. I might have to carry him around, go trick-or-treating or something. We'll see. Klaus Dracula here. And he's huge, okay? I don't know if you see it. This is a church chair. This is a chair I got donated from a church. It's got like cement in the arms and stuff. It was like a $115 chair he's sitting on. He's as big as a toddler. This big Klaus Dracula. You got to watch yourself. You got to keep that garlic close. Okay, you never know. You never know how things are going to go. It's the big Klaus Dracula. He doesn't mind it very much, but once it starts hanging down, getting underneath him, he ain't really about that life, but... yeah, there he is being all spooky. Spooky Klaus Daniels. He's a good boy. Anyways, that's our festivities. As far as that goes, Klaus Dracula. Out there strutting his stuff. Letting you know. He ain't messing around. So we're going to move on to this first video here. It's titled, Pentagon Pursues New Nuclear Bomb 24 Times the Power of the One Dropped During World War II. Because we need that, I guess. I don't know. Anything but any kind of aid to the American people will do. That's how the government works. They could wipe all of us out and they would still go on TV live every day and tell the bodies of our existence the great things they're doing for the American people and what the American people want. They would just continue on with that nonsense. Either way, let's go ahead and get this started. I do want to remind you guys, we got the Screaming Goat t-shirts. I mean, we do have the Spooky Hooligan t-shirts as well. But if you order it, you're not going to receive it today. It is still there. They're all up on the website. You can get a spooky green hooligan badge like I got. It won't be exactly like this. This was actually a gift to me prior to us having the spooky green hooligan badges. But those are still up on the merch store also. So you can check both of these designs out and more. And we'll drop the link in the chat while we're watching this first video.
The Pentagon asking Congress to fund a nuclear bomb 24 times more powerful than those dropped on Japan to end World War II. This would be major to have in our arsenal. This is the Senate Armed Services Committee raises concerns about growing nuclear threats from Russia, North Korea. Tom Dempsey has more on this from Washington. Tom?
Good morning, Marky. Yeah, this morning, military leaders in the United States want to see Congress approve the production of a brand new nuclear weapon far more powerful than the atom bombs used in World War II. The military leaders saying they want to keep Americans protected from rising threats around the world. As the world watches wars being fought in both Europe and the Middle East, this morning a new push by the Department of Defense to upgrade its nuclear weapons. Military leaders recently announcing they will pursue production of the B-6113 nuclear gravity bomb, a weapon 24 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima, Japan during World War II. One defense leader writing in a statement that the need for the new nuclear weapon, quote, is reflective of a changing security environment and growing threats from potential adversaries.
This is as serious a topic as we will hear about this year.
Earlier this month on Capitol Hill, the Senate Armed Services Committee focused on the country's nuclear strategy. Leaders from both sides noted ongoing threats from enemies like Russia, which recently de-ratified a nuclear test ban treaty, as well as North Korea, which continues to conduct numerous weapons tests.
To prevent war and keep the peace, it is incumbent on legislators to commit today to a program of sustained innovation and investment. This is the only way we can reclaim lost ground.
This mission has become more urgent through Russia's assault on Ukraine and because of China's rapid strategic expansion.
Here in the U.S., just 2 weeks ago, the National Nuclear Security Administration announced a team conducted an underground chemical explosion at a test site in Nevada, aimed at improving America's ability to detect nuclear explosions around the world. Now, with a call to upgrade the U.S.'s own weapons, some lawmakers want to see the country be prepared.
It is time to begin making the national defense investments required to deter the conflicts looming ahead.
The Department of Defense adds that this new nuclear weapon will give the president the option against certain harder and large area enemy targets, while also discouraging enemies from possibly targeting the United States. Guys.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com.
So they want it because they think it's a deterrent. I don't know. It seems really specific if its only purpose is a deterrent. And what's going to prevent other people, other countries out there from doing the same thing? They're going to build some super mega weapon because we did. And they'll just say it's a deterrent. We're just building super weapons just for deterrence, just cuz. I don't understand that. That sounds like nonsense. And how would they even use the weapon? They're going to blow half the planet up. They're going to eradicate all of us. You cannot be worried about the weather and making weapons like that at the same time. You don't think that's going to affect the ozone layer and stuff like that? Like, you're going to blow the firmament off. Like, I don't know. It just, that sounds weird. That sounds unnecessary. Like I said in the beginning of the show, it's not like we're just hitting Hiroshima on the weekends and it ain't working out anymore. You know, we're just dropping massive weapons like that and it's just not good enough anymore. Let's do one that's 24 times the weight of that. 24 times the destruction of what we did to Hiroshima. Why? Why? What's wrong with what we got? We don't even use what we got because people don't test us because of what we have. So why do we need to make one 24 times that? It just doesn't make any sense to me. That sounds like they're going to hit us and then blame another country. They're going to be like, oh no, what happened? What happened? And it's going to be them hitting us. The government's against us. That's all there is. I'm not anti-government. I'm like for government reform. We need a redo. We need to replace those people. Those people are war-loving fear-mongers. Can't stand it. We're going to read through the chat really quick, and then we're going to go ahead and move forward. We got 5 more videos coming up next. Let's see. And at a bomb to kill us all. That's what it seems like. That's exactly what it seems like. Matt, Hooligan pledge shirt to the doctor this morning. That's awesome. Hair Juicer wearing my goat shirt today. You guys are awesome. I appreciate all of you hooligans. I'm so excited to get some new hooligan shirts. I gotta get the merch shirt. I want to get the Screaming Goat. I think I'm gonna buy another 2A hoodie because I've worn mine like almost out. Like mine's starting to get like thin. Been wearing it for 2 years, I think. I don't know if it's because I'm wearing it underneath my Carhartt or what. It's starting to get thin. It's wearing thin. Have to buy another one. Let's see. Anna, you can wear a t-shirt outside? I wish. It is still snowing here. I can't tell how much it's snowing because I can't see the ground from where I'm sitting, but it is still snowing and I'm not excited about it. Let's see. Just reading through. Crystal, absolutely. We need God. Tearing one bomb to doom us all. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. What do we need something that bad for, like that big and bad for? I don't understand. I think what we have could already glass Russia. So what more do we need? Like what's the point of more? It just doesn't make sense. Background noise, they want a nuclear autumn, just stopping short of a nuclear winter. I don't know. It's not good. It's not good. RK, why use bombs when they could use chemicals? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. And they're just like, it's just a deterrent. It's a deterrent. Well, then why not lie? Why not lie? If all you're doing is trying to scare your enemies, tell them we got nukes that walk. They just walk over. Just let you have it. I don't know. It's just something weird about that. Just flipping through really quick before we move forward. I wonder where that Klaus Daniels is. Mr. Beans and Beans, don't add garlic to his catnip. I will make sure not to do that. Disable the Klaus. He's going to get extra treats today because it's Halloween. And he doesn't know that, but he's a good boy. He's a good boy. I'll snatch him up if I see him running around. He doesn't have his cape on right now. He had about enough of it. As soon as it gets under him and he's like walking on it, he's done. He's not playing anymore. He's got little devil wings too. Maybe I'll show you guys some pictures of that later on. We'll see. We'll see. Gregory's still waiting for the misstep for Screaming Eagle. I have been making quite the effort to make sure I don't say Screaming Eagle instead of Screaming Goat. Here, Juicer, can we get some help in Ohio? Of course, but you spelled Doomsday Device wrong. Yeah, they don't care about Ohio at all. And I think that's crazy that KJP is like, oh yeah, he cares so much. He goes to all these places, and you know, it's a struggle to do that, but he like really cares and stuff. You know how many times I gotta wipe him just on the plane? It's cause he cares. Like, no, he doesn't. Or he'd have went to Ohio, or he would have tried, or he'd have been sending that money to invest in America instead of overseas. Like, I mean, we can go on and on and on and on. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. They can't even kind of sort of prove that he cares. Not even a little bit. So we're going to move on to the next video. It's titled, Cell Phones Are Making Children Less Safe in Schools. Whoever wrote that title is soft and stupid all day. That's not exactly what this video is about. They're talking about how phones and parents requiring their kids to have phones is hurting them while they're at school, because it's giving kids the feeling that they're not able to stand up for themselves. They need a parent hovering over them and telling them what to do at all times, and so they never stand up and kind of take the incentive to make their own choices. That's what this video is claiming. I think it hurts kids in other ways, but let's see.
Lenore Skenazy, she is an expert in this field, president of Let Grow, a nonprofit promoting childhood independence and resilience. Lenore, thanks for being here. You wrote
I'll be right back.
A piece for the Boston Globe, and the title was "Phones in Schools Are Making Children Less Safe." Can you talk about how?
Yeah, well, as you were just hearing from Deborah Heitner, that they are not helping kids in terms of an actual emergency. You want them to have their full focus on any kind of action that their teacher is asking them to take. And you also don't want a phone pinging or blinking when, God forbid, the worst is happening. But the real thing that is happening to kids, while we're worried about this, about school shootings, which is understandable because it's so close to our hearts, the thing that is happening to children today is that as their independence has been going down, this is happening for decades, their anxiety and depression have been going up. And when parents insist that a child have a phone all the time in school, the message that the kids are getting is that they're not safe and that they have to have their parents literally, I'd say literally electronically, watching over them all day. And so just as after school time has been sort of evaporated from kids' lives in terms of just, throwing your book bag down and running outside or getting on your bike like they do in Stranger Things, now we're saying even in school, they have to be adult supervised all the time by their parents. The message that they're getting is that they can't handle anything without an adult directly supervising them all the time. That's demoralizing. It makes you passive. It takes away something called the internal locus of control, the feeling that you can do things. And it makes an external locus of control, which is somebody else in charge of your life. When you have an external locus of control being sort of micromanaged, that is anxiety producing, it's depressing, and it makes you feel like a victim.
Well, I'm sure that there are a lot of parents groups who would push back on what you're saying. And I'm sure you've probably had some hearty debates with friends.
Always.
Yeah, always. Because I'm sure there are people who say, listen, this is my kid. I want them to know. They always can reach out to me. I'm always available to them. But you did bring up something that sparked attention in my mind, which is the fact that if I have a child in a school and they're more concerned about texting me than being vigilant and being situationally aware in that emergency, get off your phone. I want you to pay attention to a teacher who might be getting you into a closet. I want you to know to stop, drop, and roll. And maybe if you're so hooked to your phone, you are hyper unaware.
Hyper unaware is a great new term. The other thing about being in constant contact with your parents is that it sort of takes away the opportunity for you to step up and solve some of your own problems. When I was interviewing a 7th grade teacher about phones in the schools, she said that even though they're not literally supposed to be on their phones during class, they're on their Chromebooks, so they text through that, or they go to their locker and they hide their phone and they text there, or they go to the bathroom. And she's had parents who have been summoned by their children during class time to bring a bottle of water because they didn't like the water fountain water, to bring a Lucky pen. And What you want is for kids to feel agency, the idea that they can handle some things. And if you're saying, no, I have to be on constant call, we used to call it speed dial. If you're saying that to your kids, what you're saying is, I don't think you can handle these things. You should know that I'm always there with you. You should know that your parent is always there with you and that they love you and they trust you and that they'll be there when you leave school that day. But you don't need to be in touch with your parents during the entire school day, because that's when you're supposed to become, you know, a little mini adult, taking care of some things on your own. There was one lady I talked to there, the principal at her first grader's school had sent a letter home to all the first grade parents saying that the kids are on their watches, you know, which are just like little phones, and that the parents have been texting them during class. So this is too close. You need a little space between yourself and your kids to recognize how competent they are and for them to feel that you trust them.
This is such an interesting conversation. I mean, I'm literally like, I could talk to you for an hour, because to know that parents are that glued to their children, I think that speaks to how much fear and a search for and a hunt for control that moms and dads have now, because they don't trust the world. They don't trust a lot of things happening in their kids' school.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to...
Well, that was something. I feel like they are dancing around the problem. The stuff they're talking about doesn't even sound like a problem. Oh, parents are hovering over their kids too much. Have you seen the world outside? Have you seen the world we're living in right now? Parents are still not hovering over their kids enough, in my opinion. As long as we got more than 100 teenagers running around in Chicago burning shit down, trying to make TikTok videos, turning riots into TikTok videos just because it's a Saturday. No, you can't say that the problem is parents hovering over their kids too much. That's absolutely not true. I see what a lot of you hooligans are saying, that they don't want teachers getting busted. They don't want kids recording what teachers are doing because those schools are corrupt. And that's what it sounds like to me too. It sounds just like that. Especially because in Ludington, which is nearby, I've done the flag walks there a few times and all that stuff. You guys have seen me in Ludington. In Ludington, when the George Floyd riots and stuff were going on, Ludington put an ad or an article in the paper, in the local newspaper, saying that they're encouraging the public to stop recording traffic stops because it affects the officers doing their job. And then they went on to cry about how stressful it is to be a cop, let alone have a camera in your face the whole time. Now, I understand it's not great to have a camera shoved in your face when you're out and about and you're doing stuff, especially if you're trying to do your job. There's a reason for that, though. There's a reason that people do that. Nobody's going to feel bad, Mr. Officer, and stop. Oh, no, he's just, let's put our phones down. His job's really hard. What if he smokes you? You're going to want everybody with the phones out. Same thing in school. If a teacher's mistreating you, you absolutely want it to be recorded. And look at the benefits since phones have come out in this light, right? How much corruption has been uncovered just because kids have phones on them. We're seeing stuff that's happening in schools. A lot of the real bad stuff that's happening in schools, like those inappropriate books for children, teachers trying to get kids to pledge allegiance to the rainbow flag, things like that. A lot of that has been uncovered due to students having cell phones. Not so much the school board finding out or parents just finding out and getting involved. A lot of it starts with kids recording what's happening. And that really sounds like the issue here, that they're having a problem with that. Now, I understand there's other problems. You don't want kids recording in bathrooms. We've covered stories on that. You don't want kids, using their phones inappropriately, such as bullying other students and things like that. And we talk about that a lot because we went to school in a different time. When we went to school, you did something stupid in class, everybody in class knew, but then when class was over, they would go tell people, and they eventually, the majority of people would know that you did something stupid in class by the end of the day. Now we have cell phones. You do something stupid in class, chances are it's recorded, and within 10 minutes, it's going to be uploaded on social media. 10 minutes after that, the whole student body knows that you did something stupid in class. And by the time you get out of class, everybody's got memes of you already made. They've already got phrases to make fun of you. And so it's probably terrible to be in school nowadays with modern technology and all of that. But as far as what these people are talking about, I feel like they didn't actually identify a problem. They're just like, oh, well, students aren't as independent because their parents are contacting them through their cell phones. They're not independent because they can't read, write, and do math, Becky. That's why. They don't have the skills to be independent, okay? They can't operate an ice cream machine because they can't read the damn labels on it, okay? That's why they're not independent. Jeez, lady. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on it. We're going to read through the chat really quick. But before we get started, since it is festive today, if I can open this without being a sissy. Hold on. I don't want to break my chapstick, too. I got a lighter here. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can do something here. Encountered a problem I wasn't expecting. I'm going to end up wrecking something. Whoa. Hold on here. This wasn't supposed to be a difficult thing. Cheers, hooligans. I'm going to crack open a blue moon. It's 3 o'clock. By the time I call the shop, if they actually want me to pick my car up, I'll legally be able to do so. It'll be fine. Either way, cheers and happy Halloween to all of you hooligans. We're going to read through the chat really quick, and then we're going to move forward. We got 4 videos left. Let's see. And my parents were what they call helicopter parents. I didn't feel stress, not until I was past 20 and my dad was still doing it. Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's an issue with hovering parents. I know that it's not fun, and I know that it can be irritating. I know that there's downsides to a hovering parent, but the downsides are not as bad as a neglectful parent. Not even kind of sort of close. So to be like, oh, parents are doing too much, hovering over their kids. Nah. As long as kids are still rioting, because it's fun, as long as kids are doing drugs and smoking cigarettes and doing other stupid shit, there's not enough hovering going on. Until we have some really dorky ass kids out there that just, they're like, oh, shit. And then they all laugh and they're like, oh my God, you're being so bad. Until we live in a society that's that soft, we don't have enough hovering going on. I want some Steve Urkel children for a whole grade. When we get to that kind of point where we got nothing but dorky soft kids, they've never seen any kind of adult content at all, swearing, violence, anything. We got soft society. Okay, time to back off and stop hovering over our kids. But until that happens, I don't think there's enough real parenting going on. How many videos have we covered? How many live streams have we covered for trials where an officer shot somebody who was not complying to officer orders, and then mom comes along and goes, oh, he was such a good boy. Well, obviously you weren't doing enough hovering, because Jamal here decided to steal a car and sell crack out of it until the police pulled him over because there was no plate on the vehicle. He went on a high-speed chase and then got shot by an officer screaming, taser, taser. So obviously there wasn't enough hovering going on. So I'm just saying. And has the chocolate dunkles out yet? I don't know. It has been a long time since I've had a chocolate dunkel. I would love to enjoy another one. You know, honestly, I forgot about the chocolate dunkles. That's like a winter thing. I will have to see if I can get another one. Maybe some hooligans can mail some out to me again. That would be awesome. Thanks for bringing that up, Anna. And I got something on the to-do list now. I got to find some chocolate dunkles. Let's see. Sam, but the cops are wearing cameras. Hold on, let me read through this. Yeah, but the cops are wearing cameras and they are investigating you when they question you. Probably a good idea to record your interaction with law enforcement. Absolutely. Your attorney will thank you. And so it's, I don't know. The people don't like to be monitored. You don't want to be monitored. Leave people the fuck alone. It's that simple. That's why I love it when we see live streamers and they're out there doing their thing. And then people on the sidewalk are like, I'm not giving you permission to record me. Well, then you better get the fuck away from me. You see the camera in my hand. Like, I don't know. That never makes sense to me. It never makes sense to me. So stupid. They'll walk right up to the camera and be like, don't record me. It's too late. And that's because you're a responsible cat person. Mine is so spoiled they sleep in bed with us. Klaus Daniels won't. He's like too active in the night. He'll come in like lay down next to me for 20 minutes or something, and then he's up rioting again. He's got to make sure there's no communism coming in. It's just how it goes. Guess I'm Jay. What's wrong with saying Jamal? I always say Timmy and Matthew and all these other. What's wrong with that? Okay, what's wrong? I'm not implying anything. I'm just saying it's a name. Okay, don't carry it too far. I normally say Timmy, and I thought I would go in a different direction this time. Okay, jeez. Cheeseburger O, Rumble notifications are worse than YouTube's now. Are you getting the email notifications, or you get the notifications through the app? I've been getting mine at the same time. Like when Oreo Express goes live, I get one on YouTube and one at Rumble. Boom, same time. Chain, there's no expectation of privacy in public. Yeah, correct. So if you're in a public school or any of that stuff, you can record. There's no expectation of privacy. You're absolutely correct. Let's see. Cheeseburger, oh, you gotta join Gilded. Join Gilded or jeffmaclive.com and you'll get notifications directly from me. Cheeseburger, oh, you get notifications on PC from Rumble? I didn't even know you could do that. I didn't know that was a thing. Hold on, I'm taking a little gander here. Notifications. Interesting. I didn't even know I could do that. Well, I don't have a lot of feedback on that because I was unaware that you could do that. Let's see. Dance Master, you get the Telegram notifications? Yeah, the Discord notification and the Gilded notification go out automatically, and then everything else I send out by hand. So, like when we're doing the Orange Eagle and you see me like sitting here doing this, it's not because I'm screwing around on my phone. It's I'm actually sending out notifications to 15 platforms or something like that. Try to let everybody know. Just reading through. Shark Hunter, if a teacher can have a cell phone in class, so should a kid. Absolutely. I mean, I don't want to see kids screwing around on their phones and fucking off and doing that kind of stuff. I'm not advocating for any kind of stuff like that. But to say that, parents are parenting too much by asking their kid to carry a phone on them so they're reachable if necessary, or they have a way to call for help or whatever. You're turning nothing into problems. And I don't know. And that lady who was selling it to us, she looked so young and so old at the same time. I couldn't figure out what was going on. And she was a know-it-all, and I can tell because I'm a know-it-all, and I get irritated looking at other know-it-alls. So I knew. I knew when I seen her. She was saying all the wrong things. Q-Train, beer tastes good at Beer 30. It does. And this beer is hitting the spot here. These Blue Moons. I don't know if you guys have had a Blue Moon Belgian White. They're pretty good. And honestly, the reason I tried it is so stupid. I came across a TikTok video. This is going to be the dumbest thing. This is going to make people unsubscribe. I came across a TikTok video with this guy who makes funny videos. And he was doing a skit between all the beers. And it had like Miller High Life and all that stuff. And then Blue Moon walked in and everybody got all quiet. And he was like, "What's up? What's up? Oh, you guys know I'm the man around here, da-da-da-da-da," and was like shitting on all the other beers. And then Bud Light was like sitting in the corner being all quiet, and they were like, yeah, we don't want to hear from you. And it was a whole bunch of that, and I was like, I ain't never had Blue Moon. And I was reading in the comments and stuff, everybody was like, yeah, Blue Moon's the shit. I was like, I should probably try that. I should probably see what that's about. Because I've been drinking all-day IPAs and Oberons pretty much all year. And, I mean, you can only drink Oberon when it's in season, basically during baseball season, whenever that is, because I don't watch baseball. But that's what I'm told. And so when it's not baseball season, I can't drink Oberon, and I'm stuck with all-day IPA, which isn't too terrible. But every once in a while, I'd like to switch it up, which is when I get a Twisted Tea. But I was like, I want to try something that's not a Twisted Tea, and it's not all-day IPA. Came across a TikTok video, was like, let's try it. And it's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. Blue Moon is all right. I don't recommend taking advice from TikTok, but I had time sitting here for 30 days at the house waiting for my car to be reborn. It's gonna be a born again virgin, pretty sure. That's why I got a call. I got a call at 4 o'clock to see about this poor blue Subaru. Anyways, reading through the chat before we move forward. You guys are getting me sidetracked. TJ, Rumble notifies you when I'm on. I'm glad you're getting notifications. I'll have to see about the browser notification, the push notifications from Rumble, because I haven't tried that yet. Just reading through. Sam, need a slice of orange on that blue moon. That would top it off. It really would. I wish I might have to get some oranges. If I'm gonna be drinking some blue moons, I'm gonna need some oranges. Maybe if I get my car today. We'll see. If I get my car today, I'm going for a cruise. I'm going for a cruise. And if I hit a deer, I'll let you guys know. I'll let you guys know, but I actually got full coverage now. So if I hit a deer, we're golden. Let's see. And I get 4 notifications. I get the website, YouTube, Gilded, and Telegram, and Rumble. Hold on, that's 5. That's 5. Yeah. Exactly. Well, I appreciate you, Annette. 10-man Blue Moon is good beer. Good. I'm glad we're all in agreement here. Gonzo, you get the notifications? I think push notifications can be interrupted, though. I think it doesn't take very much to have a push notification kind of delayed and stuff like that, because it goes through your browser. If you're not currently connected to the site that you have the browser notification set on, then sometimes things can be delayed. Prison Hook, I blocked Libs of TikTok. Why? Libs of TikTok they have pretty good videos. Prison Hug, do a freedom drive in the car. I might be able to do that. I'll see if I got... The last time I tried to go live from the car, it was shaking the phone all over the place. But I'll see if I can work that out. Prison Hug, no woke light for me. Yeah, I don't drink Bud Light. I don't know if this is Anheuser-Busch or not. And I was kind of worried about that. But I knew it wasn't a Bud Light. And so I was like, I'll take my chances. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. I don't see anything about Anheuser-Busch on here. You guys have to do some research and let me know. Tom bombs like that would kill so many civilians. Yeah, there's no way to strategically use a nuclear bomb that's 24 times what we dropped on Hiroshima. Like, how are you going to strategically use that? You're going to wipe everything out. Baseball guy, World Series isn't over yet. Then why can't I get Oberon anymore? Maybe gas stations and stuff can't wait to run out. So they choose when they're going to get their last case. Because I went to the Wesco up the street and they don't have Oberon. And I asked them about it and they're like, no, we're done for the season. Baseball guy, have you had those deer things to stick on your vehicle? The deer whistles? Well, I have. I actually, there's a guy that used to live here in this building I live in. He's an old guy. And when I was moving in, I was going through a lot of stuff. And so the only time I could move in was 11 o'clock at night. This is an old folks high rise that I live in. So I'm the youngest by 30 or 40 years than everybody else here on the property. And so I try to be real quiet, but I had to take 4 trips in a 10-foot U-Haul to get everything here that night. And so I was doing lots of running up and down the stairs and stuff. And eventually this guy came on named Jerry. He sat there and watched. He had rods in his back, so he couldn't help me carry anything. But he was just sitting there keeping me company and stuff and greeting me as I was moving in here. Eventually one day he was telling me, he was like, hey, go look at my car. And I went and looked. And I didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. I was like, I ain't seen it. He's like, look down the bumper. And he's got the little black things like M3 taped onto the bumper. I didn't know what it was. And I went back. He was telling me they were deer whistles. And that, they serve all this purpose and blah, 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 blah. I was like, they work? He's like, yeah, they work. And he used to drive trucks, so I just believed him. I was like, yeah, that's the truth. And I went and got me some when I got my new Subaru, when I got that gold Subaru. I went and got some. But it was raining, and I was tired, and it was cold. And so I threw them in the glove box. 2 years later, I decided to smoke a deer at 75 miles an hour, and I can tell you firsthand experience, they don't work when they're in your glove box. I will say that. They don't work inside your glove box. Now, do they work if they're attached properly? I don't know. But I know they don't work inside your glove box. So that's all the experience I have with those deer whistles. I'm going to try again Maybe when I pick up the car, because I got to empty everything out of the gold car into the blue car. And when I pull the deer whistles out of the glove box, I'm going to stick them right onto the front of the car. And we'll see. We'll see. Mr. Beansy Beans. Yeah, 11 o'clock at night was all I had. I tried to be really quiet, though. And when he came out, I was like, here we go. And I was like, did I wake you up? He was like, nah. He's like, I stay up all night. I was like, okay, cool. I was just making sure. He's like, but anybody gives you trouble, you let me know. I'll straighten them out. I've been here 15 years. I was like, all right, Jerry. Jerry died 2 years ago, I think. They found him sitting there in his lazy boy sleep. Just died of old age. He was an old guy. Hung out with him all the time, though. All the time. He was a good guy. And he was in the military and all that stuff. He was a good guy. John, you get your car fixed. I don't know. I got a call at like 4:30ish today to see what's going on with the car. Either the motor swap is done and we have more things to do and they just don't know where to go and I'm going to be informing them when I call, or everything's going to be done and they're going to be asking me to pick it up. But I'm not getting my hopes up because I always get let down if I do that. So we'll see how it goes. Chris, you just made a wine smoothie. I never knew. I didn't know that you could do stuff like that. You hooligans are amazing. A wine smoothie. I love smoothies. I actually bought a blender for margaritas and smoothies because I love them. And that's the only reason I purchased it. But now I need to make a wine smoothie. That is something. I love wine. That's awesome. I might have to go to the dollar store and get me some blueberry wine and make me a smoothie. That might be the plan today. I'm going to have to walk in the damn snow, though. I'm going to have to ride the Klaus Dracula, I guess, out there. We'll see. What's up, CB? Happy Freedom and happy Halloween. I appreciate you being here. Gregory, you'll misstep. Screaming eagle at us doesn't make you a bad person, just means you're human. Oh, I know, but we got a screaming eagle over on Rumble. And so when I say that, it's like I'm giving him a shout out unintentionally. It'll happen though. It will. Let's see. Chrissy. Get frozen fruit and wine. Absolutely. Absolutely. That sounds good. 10 Man Angry Orchard is also very good beer. Yeah. I like the, what do they call it? Hard cider. It's kind of expensive though. I've never been drunk off of it, but I heard that if you do get intoxicated from drinking that, like apple cider beer, that it is terrible throwing that stuff up. Q-Train, make a white lightning smoothie. That's racist. I have to look it up. I don't know what a white lightning is. You hooligans, you crack me up. Well, we're going to move forward to this next video. It's titled, Trial Begins to Get Trump Off the Ballot in Colorado. Okay, so this is that video I was telling you guys. Do your best to not scream at your phone while you're watching this because these people are stupid. They're so stupid. The whole trial. Are you ready for this? The whole trial is based off Trump doing an insurrection. They think they're going to get him off the ballot because he did an insurrection. But we had a trial. The government held a trial where he was proven that that was not an insurrection. But no, let's do all this bullshit because why not? Let's get it started, hooligans.
A long-shot bid to disqualify former President Donald Trump from appearing on Colorado's 2024 ballots began in a Denver courtroom on Monday. The case will test a rarely used Civil War-era provision of the U.S. Constitution that bars people who have engaged in insurrection or rebellion from holding federal office. Plaintiff's attorney Scott Olson argued Trump assembled a violent mob at the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021 that tried to prevent the constitutional transfer of power.
And we are here because Trump claims, after all that, he has the right to be president again. But our Constitution, our shared charter of our nation, says he cannot do so. And Colorado law says this court must ensure that only eligible candidates.
Why is this guy swaying back and forth?
Trump faces similar lawsuits brought by advocacy groups in Michigan and Minnesota, but the Colorado case is the first to go to trial. Trump is the leading Republican candidate for president in 2024 and has denied wrongdoing during the attack on the Capitol by a mob of his supporters who wanted to prevent Congress from certifying Democrat Joe Biden's November 2020 presidential election win. A lawyer for Trump, Scott Gessler, denied that Trump incited supporters to violence and said it would set a dangerous precedent to disqualify him.
And frankly, they're asking this court to be the first in the country ever to embrace a number of legal theories that have never been accepted by a court, state or federal.
Many legal experts call the strategy a long shot. Even if the plaintiffs prevail, the final say would likely rest with a U.S. Supreme Court dominated by a 6-3 conservative majority that includes 3 Trump appointees. The trial before a Denver judge is expected to last 1 week.
What a bunch of idiots. What a bunch of idiots. Wasting everybody's time and money. Just try and pull him off the ballot because they think that he started an insurrection after the federal government held a trial proving that it was not an insurrection. As much as they wanted it to be, they couldn't pull it off. And Mr. Rat Nutsack Skin, he was all upset. I think he even cried at some point during the insurrection trial because he knew that they just were not going to be able to pull it off. With all that crying and storytelling and dramatics, they couldn't pull it off. It wasn't an insurrection. But here we are again. More nonsense. Let's go to court. For what? So they can take him off the ballot. I'm sorry, I thought this was America. If we want to elect somebody who starts insurrections, isn't that our right to do that? Isn't that our right? If we want to elect somebody that sends mean tweets out, isn't that our business? Aren't we, isn't that the point of us all voting? Is so we can get the guy that we want, whether he starts insurrections, says the truth on Twitter, and makes people mad, like shitting on reporters to their face. Isn't that our business? Aren't we free enough to do that? How can they even do this? How is this not interference? They want to pull him off the ballot. It doesn't matter what their reasons are. We should still have the ability to put that guy in office if that's who we want there. It's our voice. It's our choice. Make it make sense. Doesn't make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense to me. We're going to read through the chat really quick before moving forward. We have 3 videos left. Hair juicer. Trump made me drive 1,000 miles. I bet he made me pee in that parking garage too. Trump did it. Trump did it. It's just the big bad orange eagle. They're so stupid. They have no legs to stand on. Nothing. They're just mad that everybody wants Trump in office, and there's no way for them to demonize him, to separate him from us. And it makes me worry. It makes me worry because if they get hopeless enough, they might do something really bad. And I don't know. They better not cross that line. Hopefully they don't do that. But I think it makes them mad. I think they wake up every day pissing their pants mad that Trump's he'll be back in office and there isn't anything they can do about it. Dance Master TDS is a mental disease. It is. It got them crying hard. Crying real hard. Cheeseburger, oh, the Trump thing is going to implode on them. I think so too. What I don't understand is why there isn't more people keeping tabs on all the failures of Blue Team. They always put all that out there. Look at all the bad things Trump did. You mean all the things that you keep claiming that he's doing, but it keeps getting proven as not true. And that's a long list of Blue Team saying stuff about him that just ain't true. Like Russia all over again. Let's see. Let's read through really quick. Guess MJ, taxpayer money at work? Yeah, absolutely. Kung Fu Grasshopper, drug test the Denver judge. They should all be drug tested. Q-Train makes you dance naked down the street. That white lightning. Oh, yeah, moonshine. Moonshine wrecks me, though. It wrecks me. I'm trying to think the last time I had moonshine. Last time I had moonshine was legal moonshine, but I've had extracurricular activity kind of moonshine. Like, is this going to make me blind kind of moonshine. That stuff is rough, though. That clear liquor really messes with my stomach. MU, make mean tweets great again. Absolutely. Just flipping through the chat really quick. Oh, baseball guy, yeah. Yep, White Lightning is moonshine. Apparently everybody knew but me. I appreciate you hooligans keeping me up to speed. Wendy, yeah, we're still gonna write his name. Everything is bad now. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, even if somehow they pull it off, then, you know, everybody's gonna be writing his name in, and they're still gonna have to cry hard. Like, I don't know. They're so dumb. They're so dumb. Oh, Gregory, I see. You're the Screaming Eagle. I see what you did there. I see what you did. P11. Trump ran off with my wives and deported my dog. That's a hard life. That's a hard life. The way of the Orange Eagle. Matt, you just got the Rumble notifications? Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I can't defend Rumble's notification system. I can't do that. I don't know. Matt, you make the good stuff, do you? You might have to send me some. Sam had some homemade honey mead moonshine last weekend. So good. We have a mead like distillery that's not that far from me. And I went there with a buddy I used to work with at the factory. And we tried all the mead they had. And this stuff is pretty good. I've had some bad mead that tastes like moonshine. Like it tastes like gasoline. But I've had some really good mead that is like really smooth and like delicious and whatnot. Mead is pretty good. Alright, we're going to move forward here. Let me clear the screen. So this next one is titled UAW Reaches Deal with General Motors Ending the Labor Strike. So we covered a video last week. I think it was last week. And I want to say I had Ford. I want to say it was Ford made a deal and they were waiting for everybody else to make a deal. So I guess this is the other end of that. The UAW strike is over.
General Motors and the United Auto Workers Union reached a tentative contract agreement on Monday, a deal that would end the first ever coordinated strike against the Detroit 3 automakers. That's according to two sources familiar with the matter, who told Reuters the UAW won record pay hikes after 6 weeks of strikes. The deal follows those reached in the last few days by the UAW with Ford and Chrysler parent Stellantis, in what amounts to significant victories for auto workers after years of stagnant wages and painful concessions following the 2008 financial crisis. Details of the GM deal were not announced, but sources said the UAW won the same wage increases it agreed to at Ford and Stellantis, which raises top pay for veteran workers by 33%. Nearly one-third of the union's roughly 150,000 members at the Detroit 3 joined a series of walkouts that began on September 15th in what ultimately cost the automakers and suppliers billions of dollars. The three tentative deals are a win for UAW President Shawn Fain, who organized the precedent-breaking strategy of bargaining with all three automakers at the same time and threatening strikes at key factories to accelerate a bidding war among the companies to avoid more walkouts. U.S. President Joe Biden, who has touted himself as pro-union and backed the UAW, on Monday lauded the tentative GM agreement.
Great.
GM workers will return to the job after an official announcement of the agreement, according to the Reuters sources. A GM spokesperson declined to comment.
Well, that's that, I guess. We'll see how things go because they just negotiated all those deals and stuff, but then everything's going to shut down and they're going to start doing the EVs. And half those people won't even be qualified to do that job. So they just worked out all those benefits, and then what's going to happen if they get laid off during the EV swap over? I don't know. Hopefully everybody got what they wanted, though. I mean, that's the point. That's the point. We'll see how it goes. Only time will tell. I'm going to read through the chat really quick. We got 2 more on the schedule here. One is about the Texas border and how we got to win because the federal government's constantly trying to sabotage us. And then we will be wrapping things up with Rand Paul calling out all that censorship we've been experiencing for the last 3 years. It's good stuff on the way. Sam. Oh, yeah, the mead moonshine smelled and tastes just like honeysuckle. That'd be so good. That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. Oh, actually, I had some homemade mead now that I think about it. My buddy that I went to the distillery with makes his own now. I forgot. I caught him in the parking lot a few months ago, and he had his own. I want to say one was just straight honey and the other one had some blueberry in it or something, and they were both really good. He only had little samples with him for people to try, but he caught me in Muskegon or something like that, just randomly. It was like just randomly at a gas station, like got out. I don't live there, he doesn't live there, and we just happened to be there at the same time, just randomly, and he caught me. He was like, "Hey, I haven't talked to you in a while, you need to come to my car really quick." And he had it all in the back of his car. I don't know if you guys ever bought homemade moonshine or mead out of some trunk at a gas station, but it was worth it. It was worth it. He didn't charge me for it. He just hooked me up. But he makes good stuff. I told him he should actually try and do it commercially because it was really good. If he does, I'll see if I can sponsor him or something like that. Make some hooligan mead. That'd be badass, actually. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. We're going to read through the chat really quick before we move forward. Matthew, they'll never give us oil and gas cars again. Yeah, not if we let them take it away. We have too much freedom. We have too much freedom and they don't like it. They don't like it. Jeb, mead isn't distilled. Well, whatever it is. Brewery, maybe? I don't know. They make mead at a building that's like 45 minutes from me. Guess some J. Even Honda and Toyota are scrapping EVs. Yeah. It's not a good idea. I don't know why people don't just come out and say that. It's not a good idea. I did see, and I can't remember. I think it is Toyota said that they have a new battery that's almost complete that you can like charge the whole thing in 10 minutes or something like that, but it goes twice as far as the batteries that are out right now. Something along those lines. And they're making these claims, but nobody else supposedly has this technology. And so they're about to make a release or something of these new batteries. We'll see how it goes. I read about it a couple days ago. Just flipping through the chat really quick. Adrian, EVs catch fire. Yeah. There's nothing like spending every dollar you have just to get an EV car so you can feel good about yourself or whatever, and then the thing catches on fire while you're sleeping and then your house burns down. Like, I'm good on that. I'm straight. I don't need that. No. I think one day they might be neat, but until then, it's really not practical. It's really not practical. Like where I live, there is no EV stations. So if I was to get one, I would have to drive 40 minutes in one direction to go find a place to charge the car. And then I'd be stuck there for however long it takes me to charge the car. And then obviously I'm charging the car because I need to go somewhere. So I got to add that into the scheduled time. You know, how long does it take to pump gas? 5 minutes? 10 minutes? You have a whole nother thought process if you got to charge your car. You're not getting that done in 10 minutes. So I don't know. It's just not practical at this time. Chrissy, don't fall, Joe. I know, I was wondering if they were going to show him walking up them stairs or not. When they cut away, I was like, yeah. I knew they weren't going to show it. Because he probably busted his ass. You hooligans crack me up. Alright. Moving forward, this next one's titled, Federal Officials Blocked from Removing Texas Border Razor Wire. So like I mentioned earlier, the federal government is suing Texas because Texas is preventing border crossers from coming here. They put those buoys in the water and all this other stuff to deter border crossers from coming into our country illegally, which sounds like a no-brainer. But the federal government has a problem with that. So they're suing Texas because they don't want Texas to follow the law and uphold the Constitution and keep people out of our country. The federal government wants them here for whatever reason, while they're denying it at the same time. So, with that going on, I guess a judge has ruled that the federal government can no longer interfere with the razor wire and stuff, which is a win. So let's get it started.
Down between the state of Texas and the Biden administration over how to deal with historic numbers of immigrants crossing from Mexico, and the overall issue of border security continues this morning.
And this lawsuit that we have been following claims that Customs and Border Protection agents are cutting razor wire along the southern border, as we see here in this video, to let migrants in. Our Jorge Ventura joins us now with the latest on the federal judge's decision. So Jorge, what did they rule?
So, Mark, a federal judge decided to temporarily block Border Patrol agents from removing razor wire on the southern border. It's a win for the state of Texas, at least for now. The judge granting the state's request to temporarily stop Border Patrol agents from removing, disassembling, or degrading, or to tamper with the concertina wire. The only exception would be for a medical emergency that could result in serious bodily injury or the death of a person. This comes as part of a lawsuit filed by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton last week against the Biden administration. It alleges that Border Patrol agents were damaging the state property by cutting the concertina wire in Eagle Pass with the intention of allowing migrants onto U.S. soil. According to court documents, an employee of the Texas Military Department took photos of Border Patrol agents cutting and moving coils of water and using a forklift to lift the concertina wire barrier and led a group of around 300 migrants onto U.S. soil. Now, that wire, of course, is part of Governor's Operation Lone Star. That's the state's initiative to block and deter illegal crossings into the state of Texas.
Okay, so Jorge, what's the next step here as all of this continues to play out in court?
So that temporary restraining order is set to expire on November 13th. Now, it could be extended. There will be a hearing next week by the courts. Now, sources within the Texas Department of Public Safety do tell News Nation that right now there is a dueling missions between state troopers and what federal agents are doing. Border Patrol agents say that they were cutting that razor wire because they have to apprehend those migrants. Now, DHS says that it will cooperate with the judge's order and maintains, quote, that Border Patrol agents have a responsibility under federal law to take those who have crossed onto U.S. soil without authorization into custody for processing. Now, this is the latest back and forth between the Biden administration and the state of Texas. Both were actually in court in July when the Biden administration sued Texas over those marine buoys that were placed also in Eagle Pass, Texas. Marky?
Yeah, neither side happy with the other right now, and we'll follow that hearing next week closely. Jorge Ventura, thanks.
Thank you for watching. Go to News Nation now.
They can't even make it make sense. They're saying, oh yeah, the federal government is constantly battling with the state of Texas over keeping border crossers out of the country who aren't supposed to be here. Why? Why? Why are they fighting? Why are they not united on this? I don't understand. I don't understand. How can this happen at the same time and KJP comes out and goes, oh no, we're not letting people in. Those people aren't coming in. That's all nonsense. That's just propaganda. Those people aren't coming here. What do you mean? The federal agents on the border are fighting with state police because they're working against each other because of Old Man Walter's orders. That's why. So it's not propaganda. KJP is a lying asshole. That's the reality of the situation. There shouldn't be any fight or struggle here. If you're a state cop and federal agents are breaking the Constitution, you are facing traitors. Like, you're fighting traitors. Those aren't federal agents. Those are traitors. Like, it just, I don't know. I think that people don't like realize how absolute the Constitution is. It's like, you're either with us or against us. I don't like things being that way, but that's how the Constitution is. You're either with us or you're against us. And the government's against us. And I don't want it to be that way. I want everything to make sense. But it's obvious. It's obvious that the government is against us. All the way down to the federal agents following orders. Oh, they're just doing their job. Just doing what they're told. Yeah, that's what the Gestapo did too. Doesn't make it okay. Doesn't make it okay. Do not let those people enter our country regardless of what Old Man Walter says. They're not supposed to be here. Otherwise, if blood is spilt on our soil, it will be on the hands of all of those assholes that let those people come into our country illegally. It will be on all of them. And they'll probably blame it on us. They probably will. I wouldn't be surprised if they came out and was like, oh, well, the American people should have stood up to the invasion, but they never did. Like, it's our fault. We should. We should stand up to it. It's our constitutional obligation. We just aren't. We're just not doing it. Because we know that that'll be the line in the sand where we will have to see the government take their side over ours. They will fight us. Our own government will fight us upholding our Constitution. So, nobody is. We're just letting it happen. So, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare situation. And they try to come out and act like they care about us and they got our interest at hand and all that stuff. KJP's always saying, oh, what the American people want. You don't know what we want. You don't even ask. You don't even kind of sort of ask. You just lie. You just lie. And if we're in the games of lying, then why not just lie and say you have a nuclear weapon that's 24 times the size of what we dropped on Hiroshima? Why make it? Just lie about it. You lie about everything else. Doesn't make any sense to me. We're going to read through the chat really quick. We got one more left, talking about Rand Paul calling out all the censorship that's been happening across social media over the last 3 years. Let's see. Sam, the mead that you had was distilled up because it was moonshine. I'd like to try it. Dance Master, I agree. America's not safe with the wide open border. We need to take out the invading illegals. Yeah, they need to be deported. Like, it's all great right now. Something bad happens, though. It's going to be on those people that let those border crossers come through. And then everybody will feel different about Abbott in Florida and, you know, all those other states who have been taking the measures into their own hands, spending their own dollars and stuff to try and prevent border crossers from coming across. And the White House comes out and calls it a political ploy. You know, just games, playing political games. That's what KJP says. No, they're trying to protect the border. It's your constitutional duty. Like, it's sad that the federal government not only won't admit that out loud, but they're just letting it happen. They're just letting it happen. They're all traitors right now, just letting that happen, let alone all the other stuff that they're doing. They're already traitors just by doing that. They've already thrown us to the wolves. We're in this big cage called America, and they just let the door open. They're just letting all the wolves in. We're not allowed to leave. We're not allowed to make them leave. We have to just sit here and take it. It's no good. It is no good. It is a tyrannical government. And it's unfortunate. Hey, I appreciate you, Rappy. Thank you for being here. Be safe out there. Make sure you have a happy Halloween today. Just flipping through really quick. Cash flow of the batteries for the electric vehicles cost like $10,000 to replace. Yeah, it's so bad that it's considered totaled. If you get in a car accident or something, even if it's not bad, if that battery's damaged, a lot of times your car's just considered totaled. Because they'd rather total out your car than have to replace that battery. They say it's the same thing about the paneling. Because we covered a video where they were saying just to like pop the body paneling out costs $40,000. So if you even got like dents in your car and stuff, if you try to get it fixed or you try to do an insurance claim, they're just going to total out your car. It's not practical. Not in any kind of way. Casper, the federal government only picks those cops with their values. That's why there's a conflict. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. That's why they don't like Trump. Because every president that's supposed to come in office is just supposed to get on board with whatever the hell Congress has going on. They got 100-year plans that they're rolling out to us. And so they just need the face guy, the commercial guy, the every 4-year new guy get on board. Come on, help us roll out this agenda that we have going on. And Trump's like, well, I'm not with all that. I got other shit that I'm trying to do. And Congress is like, no, that's not how the game works. You need to do what we want. And Trump's like, nah, I've been doing what I want since forever. I'm just going to keep doing that. And Congress is like, you know what? Fuck this guy. And that's why it's the way it is right now. But they got old man Walter. Does he put up a fight? He can't fight out of a wet paper bag. He can't. So obviously he just goes with the flow. And that's what all the big bad government wants. They want the face guy who talks to all of us to roll out their agenda. And it's no good. So yeah, federal agents, all that stuff. They're like, hey, you're as corrupt as we are, right? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, you're hired, buddy. You're hired. That's how they do it. It's just like the Gestapo. Hey, I appreciate you, combat vet. Oh, I appreciate you, Wendy. I'm telling you, we got these campaign shirts coming. I'm so excited about it. Gotta make those punches in the face great again. 2028. I mean, unless Trump makes me press secretary, then we'll be up there 2024, really laying down the law, paving the way for 2028. We'll see how it goes, though. We'll see how it goes. So we're gonna run on this last video here. It's titled "Rand Paul Directly Confronts FBI Director Wray and DHS Secretary Mayorkas at Senate Hearing, calling out the censorship." Now, hopefully I don't get in trouble for this because I know YouTube's watching. And pretty much everything they say in this video is what's wrong with YouTube, pretty much. So hopefully nothing bad happens. If you don't see me live on YouTube tomorrow, it's not because I got lazy and took the day off. It's because of something bad happened. With that being said, go join Gilded. Join Gilded or jeffmaclive.com, whichever one you prefer. Go join it right now, just in case something bad happens. That way you can stay connected and know when we're going live, when YouTube, gets all sour and doesn't want us around for a week or two. Anyways, let's get this started.
The Church Committee issued its final report, revealing decades of widespread abuse by federal intelligence agencies against U.S. citizens. The bipartisan Church Committee outlined countless examples of how the federal government used powers that were meant to counter foreign threats against its own citizens. In an effort to protect society, these abuses happened under presidents of both parties. Domestic groups like the NAACP and the Women's Liberation Group engaged in nonviolent, lawful political expression were targeted and surveilled for contradicting the approved government initiative and narrative. Intelligence agencies use their powers to serve ideological purposes, attempting to covertly influence social policy and political action. The government distorted and exaggerated facts, leveraged mass media, and attacked the leadership of groups it considered to be threats to the social order. One of these so-called threats to social order was Martin Luther King Jr. The purpose of the Church Committee's years-long investigation was to expose the intelligence agency's unlawful overreach into the private lives of Americans. The committee hoped that its findings would result in more transparency and accountability to ensure that these abuses never occurred again. They say history repeats itself, doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. Unfortunately, as we sit here today, I fear that our federal government is still undertaking many of the same tactics that the Church Committee found to be unworthy of democracy and occasionally reminiscent of totalitarian regimes. Federal agencies, including the FBI and the DHS, continue to operate in a manner that is outside the scope of their authorities, wasting taxpayer dollars and infringing on the rights of Americans. Earlier this month, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals found that the federal agencies, including the FBI and DHS likely violated the First Amendment. In fact, the judge said it was one of the worst, if not the worst, violation of the First Amendment in American history. By coercing social media companies to remove speech the government disagreed with related to the origins of COVID-19, pandemic lockdowns, vaccine efficacy, and the Hunter Biden laptop stories. FBI and DHS regularly met with social media companies and pressured them to remove content it deemed as misinformation, including posts and accounts that originated from within the United States and including posts and accounts that are verifiably true. And the censorship of the constitutionally protected speech on social media is just one example of the executive branch actions in recent years weaponizing the federal government against its people. The FBI continues to misuse its authority under Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. You would think we'd be going after foreigners, but we are using the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act to go after Americans, as we observed and was done with individuals participating in the George Floyd protests. Unconstitutional access to Americans' activities was instituted against those in the George Floyd protests. DHS warned of violence from Americans who questioned the efficacy and safety of the COVID-19 vaccines and protested government overreach associated with pandemic mitigation measures. These agencies, charged with protecting the security of our nation, targeted parents who protested restrictive COVID-19 policies at school board meetings and labeled Catholics as potential domestic terrorists. It is hardly a surprise that the faith of Americans in their government is dwindling. Instead of focusing on rampant violent crime across the nation and the unprecedented crisis at the border, FBI and DHS are using their resources to surveil and censor law-abiding Americans engaged in constitutionally protected speech. When the federal government's activities are improperly focused inward, legitimate national security threats go unnoticed. The Church Committee highlighted the important point, highlighting that the FBI placed more emphasis on domestic dissent than on organized crime. And its effort to combat foreign spies suffered because of its focus on American protest groups. The narratives from the past and the present draw a concerning parallel. The lessons of the Church Committee report resonate nearly 50 years later, yet the cycle of executive branch overreach continues. The American people deserve accountability from the federal government, and Congress cannot continue to abdicate its constitutional duty to conduct oversight. As the Church Committee aptly pointed out, power must be checked and balanced, and the preservation of liberty requires the restraint of laws. It is our responsibility to ensure that the principles of American democracy endure, and I hope my colleagues on both sides of the aisle will work with me to do just that.
Well, I think he hit the nail right on the head. I mean, why wouldn't he? He's in government. He's watching it all happen to us. We experienced it on the receiving end multiple times throughout the riots and protests and the stuff going on with George Floyd. And by the time we got to the point where we were covering the Derek Chauvin trial, we were getting green screened, we were getting strikes, we were getting all kinds of stuff, videos taken down. It's no good. Everybody was getting banned on Facebook. People were leaving Facebook like it was Gaza. It was crazy. And things have settled down and people have forgotten as it happens. 2 years and everybody just, it's a brand new day. It's a brand new day. It's so weird how it happens, especially when I see people sucking up to Antifa live streamers that don't claim to be Antifa anymore. And people just forgot. And they're up there like, God bless you. What are you talking about? 2 years ago, this guy was burning Portland down. Like, what do you mean? But, you know, people forget. It is what it is. I would like to see them actually do something about it. It's good that they're talking about it. I mean, could you imagine working on Capitol Hill? You're over here talking bad about Old Man Walter, talking bad about Hunter. Then you leave the briefing room just to walk past these assholes that should be in a prison cell somewhere. It'd be rough. It'd be rough. I'm glad they're talking about it, but I'd like to see them do something. We should not be censored. We should not have to endure being censored. It's our right to say what we want whenever we want. And yes, there's consequences to threats and specificities and all that stuff. But as far as just speaking, you're not hurting anybody. You're not calling to hurt anybody. You shouldn't be censored. What I think is weird is that he didn't bring up Section 230 that specifically says that these platforms have the right to pull down any and all content, even if it is constitutionally protected. It says it right there on Section 230. So I wonder why they didn't bring that up, because if they really want to stop the censorship, the Foreign Affairs Act or whatever he was talking about that they're claiming that gives them the legal right to spy on us and pull down our posts and censor us and stuff like that, they should have also brought up Section 230 and talk about doing away with it, because it's unnecessary. They act like it's to preserve the quality of the experience of using the platform. So if you're on Facebook, they don't want you to be easily disgruntled where you may leave the platform. So they're pulling off things that they think is too spicy for the average viewer. That's what they're claiming with 230, with Section 230. But it's not. It's just a way for them to tip the scale in their favor. That's what they're doing. Stories come out, people are for it, people are against it, and then the government whispers in the ear of social media, and social media goes, these guys are right and these guys are wrong. And then they just damn everyone they don't agree with. And people who are on the sidelines don't know what to make of it. Those normies out there, they see certain people being supported and their posts are being boosted, and they think, well, maybe that's the truth. It's everywhere. Everyone's allowed to say it. But then they see people getting censored, either saying what they're saying and it's getting censored, or they're bitching about getting censored because they've already been pulled down. And the normies see that and they go, these are conspiracy theorists. And they're just complaining about censorship that isn't really happening. They feel that way because they never see the content because it's already pulled down. So it looks like there's ignorant, obnoxious people who must be right because their posts exist. And then free-thinking, logical, sense-making people who are being censored, and the normies think those are conspiracy theorists because they never get a chance to see the truth. They just see people bitching about being censored because the truth has already been removed. It is a struggle. It is a struggle. I'm telling you, being the King Hooligan, I see this a lot. I see this a lot in everyday conversation I have with anybody and everybody. When they bring a story to me unintentionally, I think it's because people know I do politics and they don't know how to make small talk with me. So when they get near me, they just go, did you hear this happen? Or you hear about that? And of course, I already know all about it. So then I do my best to not just dump truck them and go, yeah, here's all the information you're missing. But when I respond to what they're saying, a lot of times they're like, well, I didn't even hear anything about that. Well, yeah, you're not going to. They're not going to just come out and tell you. You have to get all the little pieces and you have to put them together. You have to see how the people who are for something talk about the subject, but then find the people who are against it and see how they talk about it too. That's why we watch propaganda every once in a while, such as the press briefing, because we want to know. We know what's really happening. We're here living it. We want to see how do they project it? How do they deliver the information to all of us? How do they paint this picture up? And then we make our decisions based off that. And then a lot of times we do follow-ups. We see, how do they talk about it a week later? How do they change their mind? How do they handle the subject at hand? And we keep an eye on everybody and we keep track of the story. But if you're just catching the news here and there and just whatever people are saying, you don't know what's going on. You have no idea. And then things happen and they catch you off guard and then you get fucked. And that's why people are emptying their bank accounts and cashing in the 401k and stuff like that, because they're not aware of what's going on and things are catching them off guard. And they go, oh shit, things are looking bad. And then they pull their emergency resources. It's a weird time that we live in right now. It's really weird. We're going to read through the chat really quick. As I mentioned earlier, I'll turn this damn TV down. I'm going to... I don't know. Lost my train of thought. Anyways, we're going to read through the chat really quick. I'm going to drop this Linktree link for all of you hooligans. I'm going to read through the chat and all of that, and then we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance and wrap this up. I'm not sure about gaming tonight. I got to see what's going on with this car. I don't want to say, yeah, we're going to game, and then 6 o'clock comes and goes, and I'm out there dicking around with my car. Okay? So we're going to wing it. I don't know about the gaming stuff yet. If you are interested in hanging out with us, when we do game, make sure you join up on Kick, jeffmaclive.com, or Jeff Mac Gaming that's on YouTube. You can find all of that on the Linktree. But I just dropped a Linktree for all of you guys. So If you would like to donate, join membership programs, or purchase any merch to support the live, you are welcome to do so. But what I ask is that you guys join Gilded. Being a part of Gilded and being a part of the website, either or both if you prefer, is the best way to stay connected to me and all of the hooligans. The hooligans are in Gilded, constantly keeping the conversation going, which is really effective. If breaking news happens, you can be in a group of tons of people who are hungry to figure out the truth. Links coming in, articles coming in, videos coming in. You can be right there in the know. It happens right there in Gilded every day. So go join up on Gilded if you're not social, which is fine. We have a news board to keep you up to date with everything going on around the world. And Gilded in the website is the best way to be notified every single time we go live, no matter where we're going live. So definitely go join up to Gilded. We're going to read through the chat really quick. We're going to do Pledge of Allegiance, and we're going to wrap this up. Let's see. Sam, the First Amendment. The amendment so important that our founding fathers made it the First Amendment. Yep. And our First Amendment's protected by our Second Amendment. And see, that's why it's important that kids learn to read. Because otherwise all they have is the government to tell them what their rights are. And that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. According to KJP, we shouldn't have guns. When somebody shoots a whole state of people up, we're supposed to give our guns up. Make it make sense. I'm going to throw snowballs at you. If you get hit with a snowball, I'm going to need all of you guys to forfeit all your snowballs. So you can't fight back, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. Gonzo, they created it knowing it would cause mayhem. It was planned to be. That's how they do it. That's how they orchestrate these events. Just like this. If you read federal documents that have been declassified because of the Freedom of Information Act, you can find documents from the 40s that are talking about us all carrying tracking devices so they can keep track of all Americans. Now we have cell phones. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. You can read documents that are so old and see things that they wanted to happen back then, and you realize it's already been implemented and it's a part of our normal everyday life today. And we don't even know it. Like, we don't even realize a lot of stuff that's a part of our life, our everyday life, is actually something implemented by the government for some purpose that actually benefits them in some way that we don't even realize. And it's out there, plain English, on declassified government documents. It's crazy. Reading through the chat. Pro-gun. The media just needs to provide us with all of the information. Most of us are smart enough to make our own conclusions. Screw censorship. Absolutely. Absolutely. This whole political correct thing is the doorway for censorship. Ever since it began. I can't say the words because YouTube's watching, but I said it the other day when YouTube wasn't. There's certain words we're not allowed to say because it's not politically correct. Well, now it's enforced so heavily that it's just blatant censorship, but it's in the name of political correctness. The way they speak, the information they give us, the words we're allowed to say versus the words we're not allowed to say. And Blue Team's always there. They're always there to tell you how you're misphrasing something or how your definition that you got out of a dictionary isn't absolutely correct with today's example of, whatever the phrase may be. All inclusive and all those stupid phrases. It's dumb. It's dumbing us down. It's watering down our freedoms. It is. And they're coming in under the name of political correctness to censor us because they're a bunch of bastards. Just reading through. Dance Master, Section 230 needs to be amended. That section needs to be removed and included shall not be infringed. Yeah, absolutely. According to the law of the land, Section 230 shouldn't even be upheld in any form. The law of land says that anything that goes against the Constitution is not a law. It is not to be upheld. So Section 230 shouldn't even be a thing. Kung Fu Grasshopper, misphrasing things is my specialty. My specialty is pronouncing all names incorrectly. I'm golden with it. I'm golden with it. I will never forget Yellow, Texas, when we were covering the convoy, and everybody was like, "It's Amarillo," and I'm like, "Amarillo?" And they're like, "No, it's Amarillo," and I'm like, "Well, Amarillo means yellow in Spanish." And everybody's like, "Yeah, but no," and I'm like, "Okay, so welcome to Yellow, Texas," and everybody in the chat was like, because that's how we get down. That's how we get down. If they can make their own words up and their own definitions and their own phrasing and bullshit, I can pronounce everybody's name wrong, and I'm not a bastard for doing so. So it is what it is. Take it or leave it. Dance Master 2A and 1A should not be infringed. Absolutely. Absolutely. Grey Wolf. Apparently I can't spell kerosene. I had to read that like 16 times. Grey Wolf. I tried moonshine one time and it tastes like kerosene. I've never had moonshine that tasted good. I don't know that there is a way to make it taste good. I've put it in Pepsi and Dr. Pepper and all that stuff, and I don't think there's a way to make it taste good. Combat Vet, you're from there? You're from Yellow, Texas? That's awesome. That's awesome. Steve, they censored a police station news. Yeah, they just censored the LAPD official channel on YouTube. They just gave them a strike for God only knows. God only knows. What's up, Ball? Appreciate you being here. Thank you. Combat Vest says, come say hi in Discord. We do still have Discord, and we have Telegram. I don't advertise it a lot because I would kind of like to get everybody in one spot, but we do have all of that if you guys are, if you have preference over that stuff. I think Gilded is the best, but I do post the updates and the announcements, like the notifications. I send the notification on all those platforms. So if you join Gilded, Discord, or Telegram, you will absolutely receive notifications. But I prefer for everyone to be on Gilded because I think Gilded is the best. But I have seen you hooligans over on Discord, and you guys are bringing it back, and I do dig that. And so don't stop what you're doing. Sam, if everyone had guns, then everyone could return fire. Absolutely. The best way that me and my buddy WMM have explained it to people when we come across people that are on the fence about guns, or maybe they're anti-gun but they don't really have a good reason. First of all, usually they're women, and I don't know why that is. I have my speculations, but I'm not going to air them right here. Maybe for another day. But a lot of times they're anti-gun. And the easiest way to tell the story is to be like, well, if somebody was kicking your door in and they were coming to get you or your kid or your cat or whatever it may be, how would you stop them? And then they always have all these crazy, stories, I got a pan underneath the couch and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Okay, but what if he has a gun? That's the end of the story. They just, I'm fucked. Well, you don't have to be. So you don't have to be. Because the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. And you could be the good guy with a gun in that situation. You're choosing to not have a gun. That's your choice. So instead of being the good guy with a gun, you decided to be a victim. Doesn't have to be that way. It's actually your right to have a gun and to be the good guy with a gun. It's your constitutional duty, actually, to be the good guy with the gun. But propaganda, it runs deep. And so you gotta open their eyes to it. It is the true equalizer. It makes us all equal. A 350-pound man who's trained in combat, hand-to-hand combat, knows all the jiu-jitsu and all that stuff, and an 80-pound woman who doesn't know shit but lifting a remote off the couch, they both are equal if you put a gun in each of their hands. That's how it works. It makes us all equal. Yeah, it makes us all polite. And I like that. And it should be that way. But the government has got everybody scared of every little thing, and that's why we got to pour into our kids, have to invest in our kids, teach them gun safety, teach them, how to respect firearms. And one day when they're old enough, teach them how to properly use a firearm, if you're able to. And we got to really pour into our kids. Obviously, the government's not going to do it. The government wants the kids to be scared of guns, because then when they're 20, they will gladly forfeit their Second Amendment. And when they do that, it'll be a short little time before the First Amendment and the rest of them are gone. It's all gone. They will lose everything. We can't let that happen. And they know they can't take it from us. So they're indoctrinating our kids right now. And so you got to let them know. Obviously, don't touch guns. Go play with guns, little Timmy. But you need to respect them, and you need to understand what they're for. And we got to pour it into our kids, or it ain't going to happen. We're going to lose it. We're going to lose it. Either way, I appreciate all of you hooligans. Like I said, that was all the coffee I had for you guys today. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and we're going to wrap this up. Make sure you're a part of Gilded and you're part of jeffmaclive.com, either or both. I will update you guys as things go on. In about 15 minutes, I got to call the shop and see what's happening with the car. Either I'm going to get it or I'm not, but I will update you guys if you're at either of those places, and we'll let you know. Let's see. So I think we're good to go. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I don't know what it is. I hate that feeling every day. Every day. And I never forgot, or I never found out what I was forgetting yesterday. These things happen. That's all right. All right, hooligans, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we did the thing. I didn't mute myself. I think we're good to go. I'm going to read through chat really quick one more time. And I don't know about the game. So we'll be live, at very least, we'll be live tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time for the very next Coffee with Hooligans. We may have the Orange Eagle tomorrow. I need to double check the schedule. I really thought it was today. I was all excited for Trump on Halloween. Hey, I appreciate you, Matthew. Not getting my hopes up about the car, but I am hopeful. Pro-gun nude women with guns, even better. I'm saying. You know what's better than naked women? Hand them a gun. Perfect. Crisp. You hooligans crack me up. Tom, my kids know how to shoot, and they don't touch them. One likes and one doesn't care much about them. As long as they know, Tom, you're doing a good job. Grey Wolf, you missed it. Well, you gotta join Gilded or the website. That way you don't miss the notifications. What's up, Sean? Happy freedom. Combat vet or a good witness. That's true. That's true too. That's what they were telling all of us when I was taking my concealed carry course. Is they were like, you might be in the position to use your shield, but there's always time to be a good witness. You don't necessarily have to be the one to use it. You could just witness. And I think what we were talking about if there was more than one person that was concealed carrying in an event. So you're in a restaurant, bad guy shows up with a gun. 16 pro-Americans start drawing their firearm. One of you guys has to put it away. Okay, not all of you guys can just open fire on this asshole. So whoever shoots first, everybody else needs to reholster the shield there. But I digress. We'll let the police figure that out. Anyways, I appreciate all of you hooligans. I hope you have a fantastic Halloween, the happiest of Halloweens. Go do something fun. And I know there's religion and all that stuff, and I'm not trying to, push you guys if you're against it or whatever. But it doesn't mean you don't have to have fun today. You can still do something fun. It doesn't have to be Halloween. I hope you guys stay safe out there. Big shout out to everyone that made donations, joined the membership programs, or purchased any merch. I really appreciate all of you hooligans, and I wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't for all of you. So thank you guys so much for all your support. I'll see you on the next live. Until then, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.
Jeff.